Chapter 1473. After another rest, Night Sorrow finally pulled the ice dragon skeleton out of the ice dragon abyss. After pulling the ice dragon out of the ice dragon abyss, Night Sorrow let out a roar. He had done something he didn't even dare to think about in the past. However, at this moment, something strange happened. The ice dragon king skeleton that had been pulled out shone brightly. It directly sent Night Sorrow, who bore the brunt of the attack, flying backwards and spitting out blood. Yi Shang, who was flying backward, cursed in his heart. What heaven monarch realm ice dragon king? It was not. It was the ice dragon emperor of the imperial realm, the fallen ice dragon emperor. The ice dragon emperor's aura was no longer suppressed by the ice after being pulled out of the ice dragon abyss. When it burst out, it sent Night Sorrow flying. His sternum shattered, and his true chi became chaotic. Night Sorrow was heavily injured. The ice dragon emperor's aura was very powerful. It was on a completely different level from the celestial sex rank 9 skeleton. After attacking Night Sorrow, its aura was restrained. Shiyu flew over and supported Night Sorrow. "Are you all right?" Night Sorrow supported Shiyu's shoulder and steadied himself. He then looked at Aolai. "I'm sorry. There are some things I didn't tell you. The ancestor wasn't an ice dragon, but a rank 9 ice dragon emperor. I'm known as the most outstanding person in the clan, but compared to the ancestor, I'm nothing," said Aolai. Night Sorrow nodded. He now understood. "Night Sorrow, you heal first. Uncle Lai will go settle the ancestor skeleton." Shi Lai waved his arm and left the ice dragon abyss with the ice dragon emperor skeleton. "You two tricked me. Remember that." Night Sorrow glared at Shi Tai and Shiyu. After drinking the life spirit liquid, he sat down and began to heal. "Sister, what's going on? Why didn't I know anything about it?" Shi Tai asked Shiyu. "How can I know what you don't know?" Shiyu was also very puzzled. Night Sorrow continued to recover. After Shelia returned, he went to Night Sorrow's side to guard him. After recuperating for half a day, Night Sorrow stood up. This time, his injuries were more serious. "Night Sorrow, let's go back and talk. Zeta, Shiyu, follow me. There are some things you should know and understand." After saying that, Shelia flew towards the Ice Dragon Palace. Night Sorrow and the other two followed behind. Shi Lai brought the three of them to Shi Tai's courtyard. Then Shelia revealed some secrets that no one, including the ice dragons, knew about. The old ancestor of the ice dragons was the prince of the azure dragons. He was extremely talented and possessed extremely powerful ice abilities. Due to his rebellious nature, he married the princess of the ice dragon clan when he was traveling the world. This angered the azure dragons and was expelled from the azure dragon clan. After being expelled from the azure dragons, the old ancestor came to the ice dragon realm and gave birth to ice dragons. Later on, the two old ancestors left the ice dragon realm and went to the legendary celestial realm. However, the old ancestor left behind a clone, which was the skeleton from earlier. Many years later, the Moon Empress became an emperor. Countless years later, the old ancestor died. The clone in the ice dragon realm also died. Although the body was intact, the soul was destroyed. Shelia revealed some secrets to Night Sorrow and the other two. The old ancestor might have been punished by the heavens, and so were the ice dragons. The tribulation of wind and fire is the product of the heavens' punishment. Many large worlds are unable to produce an emperor, but the ice dragon realm can. However, no one dares to touch the tribulation of wind and fire, Shelia continued. As Shelia explained, Night Sorrow understood one thing. A world that had never produced an emperor, even a large world, was unable to produce an emperor. This was the shackle of the heavenly Tao. The ice dragon realm could produce an emperor now because the old ancestor of the ice dragon realm had broken this shackle. This was easy to understand. The 9 regions world could not produce a king in the past. Yi Qianhua could not enter the king realm after countless reincarnations because there was no way. After Night Sorrow became a king, it was equivalent to opening a door. Later generations could walk through this door and become a king. Ice dragons, other than the clan leader who needs to have a high cultivation level, will no longer comprehend the will after reaching the monarch realm. They are afraid of touching the forbidden door and provoking the tribulation of wind and fire, Shelia said. No one dared to touch the ice dragon's taboo. The old ancestor of the ice dragons left the heavenly mandate scepter, which was the key to unlocking the taboo. After Night Sorrow understood it, he gave the ice dragons hope. That was why Shelia dared to cultivate in seclusion and try to break through to the 9th rank. I understand. It seems that the 3 macro-world groups of the chaotic realm are also limited by the shackles of the way of heaven, Night Sorrow said after thinking for a moment. Becoming an emperor in the celestial realm is the only way to break the shackles. Our ancestors were like this back then. Uncle I also knows this much. Now, the ice dragons do not have any records of how our ancestors went to the celestial realm. If you reach the heaven monarch realm, you can also go to the ice dragon realm. Maybe you will have a chance. After all, the ice dragon realm is a little special. Shelia nodded to Night Sorrow. Thank you, Uncle Lai, for clearing my doubts. Later, I will go and pull all the ice dragons out of the ice dragon abyss and let them rest in their ancestral land. Then I will go back, Night Sorrow said. Although he knew some things, he was most worried about the battlefield in the black-yellow great world. That's fine. You can set up the teleportation formation in the square in front of the ice dragon palace. If there is anything, you can send a message to Uncle Lai, Shelia said to Night Sorrow. Shelia was busy with his closed-door cultivation. After chatting for a while, he left, leaving Shiyu and Shitai to accompany Night Sorrow. Night Sorrow was injured by the Ice Dragon Emperor's counterattack. He rested for 2 days and then fished out all the Ice Dragon skeletons from the Ice Dragon Abyss. After that, he set up the teleportation formation in front of the Ice Dragon Palace. Night Sorrow planned to leave. Brother, we still have some things to deal with here. We will go find you later, Shitai said. I'll activate the teleportation formation here after I return. You can teleport directly to the 9-domain world, and then you can teleport to any of the 3 great worlds, Yi Shang said after embedding a teleportation crystal in the teleportation formation. Okay. Shitai nodded. Then I will leave, Night Sorrow said with a smile. Here, take this. Sita gave Night Sorrow a storage ring. Brother Sita, this isn't interesting. Night Sorrow looked at Sita and frowned. Moj Nu Chapter 2D Section E Shangu, what do you mean boring? It's just some wine and a small gift. Don't waste my time. Let's go back and wait for me, Sita's arrival. Sita patted Night Sorrow's shoulder and said. Nodding helplessly, Night Sorrow took out the teleportation array disk and teleported to the small teleportation array he had set up. After watching Night Sorrow leave, Shitai and Shiyu looked at each other. Big brother, Night Sorrow is very strong now. That's right. This fellow is indeed ridiculously strong. We'll go look for him later. Now, let's arrange the matters at hand. Shitai said. Taking the teleportation array, Night Sorrow returned to the 9 Domains world. In the 9 Domains city, Night Sorrow separated the teleportation crystal and embedded it. The teleportation array between the 9 Domains world and the Ice Dragon realm was officially opened. Then, Night Sorrow communicated with the 9 Domains origin body. The 9 Domains world could continue to move to the predetermined location. His main body was in the Black Origin Great World's battlefield and could confirm that the situation was stable. Night Sorrow entered the 9 Domains origin body's defensive barrier and went to the main palace next to the Heaven-Sealing Great Hall. That was the City Lord's mansion. The 9 Domains world only had 1 realm master, and the 9 Domains city only had 1 city lord. That was Night Sorrow. After entering the City Lord's mansion, Night Sorrow took out the teleportation crystal ring that Shitai had given him. Chapter 1474. After opening the storage ring, Night Sorrow smiled. He knew that there was more than just wine in the storage ring. There must be something else. As expected, there were a lot of shiny things in the storage ring. Night Sorrow took out a jade bottle. After opening the jade bottle, Night Sorrow was stunned for a moment. Night Sorrow could tell from the energy emitted by the blood essence that it was the blood essence of a Heaven Monarch Realm ice dragon. It was definitely not Shilia's. Night Sorrow could feel that the aura was different. Night Sorrow understood that this was the blood essence that the ice dragons had obtained and stored in their ancestors. It was good stuff. Night Sorrow could use it to strengthen his body. Just like his cultivation, his body needed to be improved. Although he didn't use it now when his body reached the Heaven Monarch realm, he needed to continue to improve it. After leaving the important things, such as the Tier 9 teleportation crystal and other resources, to the clone in the Heaven Sealing Hall, Night Sorrow teleported back to the battlefield in the black-yellow Great World. After thinking for a while, Night Sorrow decided to change his way of thinking. His clone would cultivate the fighting spirit while his original body would relax and search for the feeling. If he could feel it, he might have the opportunity to make a breakthrough. Night Sorrow switched his protective treasure, Nate. His clone used the Haotian Divine Pagoda to accelerate time to cultivate the fighting spirit while his original body walked around casually to search for the feeling. Night Sorrow's aura was getting stronger and stronger. Although the aura didn't leak out, everyone could feel that there was a peerless, ferocious beast hiding in Night Sorrow's body. Night Sorrow entered the Devil Blood Chi and killed 2 more times. The evil soldiers couldn't do anything, but 2 Heaven Monarchs under their command were killed by Night Sorrow. The 2 legions of the Devil Blood domain had tens of thousands of people, more than a dozen Heaven Monarchs, and a half-step Martial Emperor commander. However, they couldn't stop Night Sorrow from killing. This was a disgrace to the Devil Blood domain. Night Sorrow was fast and powerful. Besieging, chasing, and intercepting were all useless. They couldn't stop Night Sorrow's violent charge. The evil soldiers had no choice but to set up a formation to block Night Sorrow's attack. At this moment, Night Sorrow was the god of war in the hearts of the allied forces of the 3 realms. No one could stop Night Sorrow. If he wanted to kill his way into the Devil Blood Chi, he could do so. The soldiers of the Devil Blood domain could only retreat. After drinking with the god-slaying team, Night Sorrow went to Senior Brother Sandal's tent. You 2 have troubled your martial uncle again. Remember, when you trouble your martial uncle again, you must prepare some good wine and dishes, Yi Shang said as he looked at his children. After chatting with Jean Tan for a while, Night Sorrow left. Looking at Night Sorrow's back, Jean Tan nodded. Although your father doesn't care, no matter where he goes, he'll always be the center of attention. He'll always shine. But father has sacrificed too much behind the scenes, said Yi Qingyan in a low voice. Time passed. Night Sorrow still couldn't find the opportunity to break through. This was something he couldn't do anything about. The will of nothingness had reached 99%, but it just wasn't perfect. While Night Sorrow was searching for the opportunity to break through, the battle broke out again. Xie Bing's senior brother, Lai Bing of the Heavenly Tao, had come out of seclusion. Knowing that his junior brother had suffered a setback and had suffered a loss, Lai Bing was furious. He brought his guards to the Xuanhuan Great World through the void wormhole. Seeing Lai Bing, Xie Bing was somewhat excited. He had suffered too much in the past few years. Junior brother, what's going on? Lai Bing sat in the main seat in the tent. The other side sent out a monster. I can't take it down. The dandelion devil blood insects have suffered heavy losses. Fortunately, one of the larvae is a dandelion mother insect. But it takes a long time to reproduce, said Xie Bing. Don't worry. Let's kill our way over first. Later, I'll bring my insects over. Then everything will be solved, said Lai Bing of the Heavenly Tao coldly. Lai Bing of the Heavenly Tao and Xie Bing of the Demonic Tao had different styles. Lai Bing of the Heavenly Tao's aura was very violent, with a very strong pressure. I'll leave everything to you, senior brother. Xie Bing nodded. In his life, the person he admired the most was his senior brother Lai Bing. Lai Bing was even more admirable than the Magic Dragon General. Night Sorrow stood in front of the Xuanhuan Great World's allied army's camp, looking into the distance. He already knew that something was wrong. Because of the opportunity, he sensed the arrival of experts. Father, why do you look so serious? Yi Qingyan went to Night Sorrow's side. A great battle is coming. Perhaps I won't be able to resist. Take your brother, and senior sister and leave. I'll be enough to fight at the front. You don't need to do anything, said Night Sorrow. Father. Yi Qingyan's eyes were filled with shock. She had never seen her father speak so seriously before. Listen to your father. Take your brother and leave. Sandalwood also arrived. Experts were very sensitive to auras. She also understood that the situation was very dangerous. Senior brother, the other side is very strong. Be careful. Night Sorrow's clone came out of seclusion and merged with his main body. The Haotian godly pagoda also entered his main body. Junior brother, the other side has 2 half-step emperors. We might not be able to handle them. What should we do? Asked Sandalwood, looking at Night Sorrow. Let's fight and see what happens, said Night Sorrow, looking at the rolling devil blood energy. Qing Emperor, Tang Jianfeng, and the others all went to Night Sorrow's side. Master, get ready to retreat. If we can't handle it, we have to retreat. We can't lose anyone, said Night Sorrow. All right. The Lotus Supreme the Arch nodded. At this moment, he also understood how dangerous the situation was. Night Sorrow could fight a half-step Imperial Realm cultivator, but his opponent was not a half-step Imperial Realm cultivator. Standing in front of the camp, Night Sorrow waited for the battle. Actually, he felt that the current situation was dangerous, but it was not hopeless. If an emperor appeared, it would be a truly hopeless situation. I'll try my best to stop the 2 of them. However, I have clones, but they must have clones as well. So, if I can't stop them, the Lords of Heaven have to think of a way to hold them back. We can't let them form an army, said Night Sorrow. Don't worry. The Wuling Mountain Master and I will cooperate to stop them. Lord of Heaven Shin Hu and the Wuling Mountain Master nodded. During this time, the Lords of Heaven had also cultivated the combined attack formation. Their main focus was defense. They had no chance of winning against half-step emperors, so defense was the most important thing. While Night Sorrow was giving instructions, Lai Bing and Xie Bing led the army out of the Devil Blood Energy camp and to the front of the camp. Who is Night Sorrow? Come out and die. Lai Bing of the Natural Law waved his halberd and shouted. Chapter 1475. Lai Bing's aura was stronger than evil soldiers. He stood there with energy rolling around him. This situation made Night Sorrow realize that a half-step Imperial Realm warrior was the same as a half-step king. A half-step Imperial Realm warrior could not be compared to a half-step king with 70% will. The same was true for a half-step Imperial Realm warrior. Lai Bing and Evil Soldier had a huge gap between them. No matter how strong he was, Night Sorrow had to fight because he had too many people and things to protect behind him. Qualifications? Whoever I want to kill will die. This rule has existed for countless years. You are no exception. Lai Bing's aura was getting stronger and stronger, causing energy waves to ripple in all directions. I don't hate fighting. Fighting is a process of tempering, and it's also a method to solve problems. However, I really dislike people who boast shamelessly and say that they'll kill this and that. Can't they think about who they are? Being low-key is the most basic principle. Don't you understand this principle? Hearing Lai Bing's arrogant words, Night Sorrow was disgusted and retorted directly. Lai Bing waved his halberd and laughed. Countless years had passed and no one had dared to talk to him like this. Yi Shang's words didn't give him any face at all. Yi Shang respected his opponent, but the prerequisite was that the opponent was worthy of respect. After Lai Bing appeared, he spoke arrogantly. He was very disgusted. No need to laugh. How are we going to fight today? I can handle one of you. If 2 of you come, I, Night Sorrow, can handle it, Night Sorrow said coldly. Even if you are a Lord of Heaven or a half-step Imperial Realm warrior, I, Lai Bing, will not fight with others, Lai Bing said. This is not something you can decide. This is a war. If he comes out, I will take it. Night Sorrow reached out and pulled out some Sara from behind him. Looking at Night Sorrow, Lai Bing revealed his fighting style. Your words are sharp, saying that Evil Soldier can't fight. But it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter if our army doesn't fight today. It's just you and me. After I kill you, it doesn't matter when I kill them. They're just a bunch of ants. What can they do? Night Sorrow's body swayed and came to the front of the battlefield. Then he waved some Sara. Come. Lai Bing jumped toward Night Sorrow in the air. He carried the power of heaven and earth with him as if he was going to press Night Sorrow into the darkness. Night Sorrow's battle intent burst forth. The murderous battle intent rippled in all directions, blocking the dark aura outside his body. At this moment, Lai Bing's halberd was aimed at Night Sorrow's head. Night Sorrow swung samsara. With a loud explosion, the two of them separated. Yi Shan was pushed back a distance of 5 to 6 meters while Lai Bing was also pushed back in the air. Then, the two rushed forward at the same time and fought again. Lai Bing was of the death attribute. The power of heaven and earth he carried was the power of death. His moves were also very big. His strength and Jun Qi were very violent. Night Sorrow's battle intent was released. He resisted the suppression of the dark aura. Then he used the will of nothingness to protect his body and fought with Lai Bing. Very strong. Lai Bing was much stronger than Evil Soldier. Not only in terms of cultivation, but also in terms of actual fighting strength. However, Night Sorrow was not afraid. As long as he was not defeated in an instant, Night Sorrow could hold on. Samsara used the 3 ultimate skills of Void Extreme Point Kill, Time Vibration Wave, and Space Revolving Dragon Kill to fight against Lai Bing. Everyone held their breath. This battle was too important. It was related to the direction of the war. In addition, it was a battle between top experts. It was rare to see and could be used as a reference. Original version ****** Misty Rain, who was about to bring Night Sorrow's children and disciples to the teleportation array, stopped. It's not a group battle. There is no danger. You should also watch such a battle. See how experts fight. It was rare to see a battle between experts. Misty Rain also hoped that the children could increase their knowledge. If it was when the Realm War had just started, Night Sorrow might not be Lai Bing's opponent. However, it was different now. Night Sorrow's cultivation increased by the Haotian Godly Pagoda. He rushed from middle-class monarch to high-class monarch. This was only an increase in realm. In terms of actual fighting strength, Night Sorrow had also increased a lot. His body was strengthened by the White Tiger's blood essence and kept up with the myriad Tao Tome's cultivation realm. His body was at high-class monarch. The increase in soul spirit power was even greater. Night Sorrow had refined 3 drops of soul cultivation liquid and was now in the process of refining the 4th drop. 3 drops of soul cultivation liquid was the limit for ordinary monarchs. However, Night Sorrow's situation was special. He cultivated the myriad Tao Tome. His divine sea was 1/3 larger than ordinary cultivators. With a larger capacity, there was more room for improvement. The 2 basic attributes of a cultivator were the body and the soul spirit. Night Sorrow had reached the level of ordinary monarchs. Even heaven monarchs could not reach these 2 attributes. Therefore, his actual fighting strength could no longer be measured by his current realm. Night Sorrow and Lai Bing were fighting in the air. The energy sputtered in all directions. Spatial cracks and spatial vortexes constantly appeared. Because of Night Sorrow's special void attribute, the sputtering energy disappeared around him but could not hurt him. Do you see? This is your father and master. As a monarch, killing a heaven monarch is as easy as flipping one's hand. Even when fighting a half-step monarch, they are not at a disadvantage. This is an unprecedented and splendid battle record. Misty Rain lamented. Right now, she was not worried but lamenting. If she was in the market, she would be instantly defeated and killed. She did not have the ability to fight at all. Father, don't you have powerful battle clones? Why don't you use them? Yi Qingyan asked, puzzled. It's unwise to use all our trump cards when we don't know how strong our opponent is. Moreover, our opponent has a half-step martial monarch. It's better to stabilize the situation first and seek victory later, said Heavenly Monarch Yufei. On the battlefield, Night Sorrow didn't use any of his ultimate moves. He wasn't afraid of exhausting his energy. Although his opponent's energy was much denser than his, he had secretive true body. He wouldn't waste a single bit of energy in battle. Not being able to take down Night Sorrow, Lai Bing was a little angry. He was the strongest expert in the Devil Blood Weave's 3 great worlds besides the chief, the magic dragon general. Now, he was evenly matched with a monarch. How could he endure this? Moreover, both armies and tens of thousands of Devil Blood Weave soldiers were watching. Lai Bing's body trembled as his clones appeared. Both the original body and the clone held a halberd and surrounded Night Sorrow to attack. Is this why you have the confidence to boast so shamelessly? You have battle clones. Do you think others don't have battle clones? Night Sorrow's body shook as his clone appeared as well. After using the battle doppelganger, Yishang also used the afterimage body. Both his true body and doppelganger had used the afterimage body. Amidst the countless afterimages, Yishang's true body and doppelganger rushed towards Lai Bing's doppelganger. He realized that the gap between Lai Bing's doppelganger and his true body was not small. If he could defeat Lai Bing's doppelganger with his full strength, it would be a great victory. The fifth update has arrived. Today's update has been completed. Thank you, brother, for your support. Thank you, brothers and sisters, for your support. Chapter 1476. Night Sorrow and his doppelganger used residual shadow at the same time, which stunned Lai Bing. He didn't know which one to attack. Night Sorrow's residual shadow was formed by the combination of soul energy and genuine qi. It was hard to tell the real one from the fake. When Lai Bing decided to use a wide-range attack, Night Sorrow and his doppelganger used their unique skills at the same time. First, two space cracks appeared, separating Lai Bing from his doppelganger. Then they used Soul Destruction Slash at the same time, and the crescent blade formed by soul energy attacked Lai Bing's doppelganger. After the soul attack, Night Sorrow used Emperor Reincarnation Slash and Death Destruction Slash to attack Lai Bing's doppelganger. Yishang didn't make a move, but once he did, it was a thunderous attack. Although he didn't know if he could seriously injure Lai Bing, Yishang didn't want to let go of even the slightest chance. Once Lai Bing's doppelganger was killed, the situation of the battle would be changed. If something happened to Lai Bing's doppelganger, then there would only be 3 of them left. Lai Bing could fight against 2 of them, and the Master of Wuling Mountain and Lord of Heavenshan Hu could fight against 1 of them together. 2 black space cracks appeared between Lai Bing and his doppelganger. Then the black halo of Death Destruction Slash and the purple halo of Emperor Reincarnation Slash fell on Lai Bing's doppelganger one after another. Q update: our most % fast P black light appeared on Lai Bing's doppelganger, and then it gathered on his head. It collided with the soul attack of Death Destruction Slash and was annihilated together. Then the purple halo of Night Sorrow's Emperor Reincarnation Slash fell on his head. The black halo appeared on Lai Bing again, and then it gathered on his head to fend off Night Sorrow's soul attack. The black halo blocked the halo of Emperor Reincarnation Slash, but Night Sorrow's crescent blade of soul destruction Slash also penetrated his spirit sea. Then another crescent blade broke the black halo and entered his spirit sea, slashing inside. Lai Bing's doppelganger was trapped in a soul defense battle, and his body couldn't attack or defend. Sky-shaking roar. Lai Bing knew his doppelganger's situation, so he shouted anxiously. This wasn't an ordinary roar. It was the heaven-shaking roar. In the Devil Blood domain, the sky-shaking roar of the sky-shaking roar was famous. Even the king would be shocked out of his wits by this roar, and even the monarchs would be severely injured. It was just a roar, and the attack that followed after that roar was very difficult to defend against. The shockwave caused by the roar rushed towards Night Sorrow, his doppelganger, and all his afterimages. Night Sorrow's afterimages couldn't withstand the shockwave and were instantly destroyed. After the roar shattered Night Sorrow's afterimage, the sound wave continued to move forward. Its target was Night Sorrow's original body and doppelganger. Suppress. Night Sorrow's original body's protective magic treasure, the Haotian Godly Pagoda, appeared in front of his doppelganger. His original body activated the 9-region origin bead to protect his spirit sea, and then continued to attack Lai Bing's doppelganger. This defense was because Night Sorrow found that the sky-shaking roar was both a soul and a physical attack. Putting aside the physical defense, Night Sorrow's original body and doppelganger's physical defense were similar. However, there was a difference in soul defense. His original body had the 9-region origin bead's defense, while his doppelganger's soul defense was weaker. The Haotian godly pagoda could block all attacks. After blocking Lai Bing's original body's ultimate skill, Night Sorrow's original body used the Evoid Extreme Point Kill. The Samsara pierced into Lai Bing's doppelganger's body, and then it vibrated with energy. Pale purple light spots exploded in Lai Bing's body, directly annihilating a hole in his chest. At the same time, the Samsara's soul attack energy also rushed into Lai Bing's doppelganger's soul. Go to hell! When Lai Bing's doppelganger was seriously injured and could not move or resist, Night Sorrow's doppelganger rushed over. The space splitter pierced through the doppelganger's head through his temple. However, Lai Bing's original body arrived at this time, and his halberd pierced through Night Sorrow's doppelganger's chest. The Evoid Extreme Point Kill, Night Sorrow's original body's Samsara, directly rushed towards Lai Bing's original body. Feeling the strong aura of Night Sorrow's Samsara, Lai Bing felt that he could not continue to hurt Night Sorrow's doppelganger, so he pulled out his halberd and blocked the Night Sorrow's Samsara. At this time, Night Sorrow's doppelganger continued to rush forward. Then, the dragon cauldron appeared, and the lifeless doppelganger was sucked into the dragon cauldron. At this time, Night Sorrow's doppelganger's chest had a bloody hole. However, it was not a big problem. To others, it might be a serious injury, but to Night Sorrow, it was only an external injury. Father is injured. Yi Qingyan, who was watching the battle, was somewhat excited. Don't worry. Your father's aura and vigor are not weakened, which means it is not serious. He is not fundamentally injured. Misty Rain pressed Yi Qingyan's shoulder. Come on. You can play however you want. After killing Lai Bing's doppelganger, Night Sorrow's original body began to defend. To put it bluntly, he was trying to delay. Lai Bing's aura became weaker. His doppelganger was destroyed, and his original body's soul was severely injured. Today, I was ambushed by you. I will kill you another day. Lai Bing's body flashed and rushed towards the camp of the Devil Blood Boundary Army. At this time, Night Sorrow's doppelganger had arrived. Night Sorrow's original body and doppelganger were fighting against him together. Even if he could hold on, he would not be able to do anything. Night Sorrow did not chase after him. There was no possibility of killing Lai Bing's original body, so it was meaningless to continue. Those who provoke me will be killed by me. As long as I am alive, I will be your nightmare. Night Sorrow waved his right hand, and Samsara fell into the trap on his back. Then, his original body and doppelganger merged together and flew back to the camp of the Black-Yellow Great World. How is it? Datura stood beside Night Sorrow. I need to deal with it. This amount of time is not a problem, Night Sorrow said in a low voice. In fact, Lai Bing's halberd had pierced through Night Sorrow's doppelganger. Night Sorrow's doppelganger was also greatly injured. Now, Night Sorrow was using the underworld stone to suppress it, so he could not perform the great death-shattering cut. Okay. Datura nodded. She was not afraid of Night Sorrow getting hurt. As long as he did not die and did not affect his future, it was fine. Who has a sealed soul crystal ball? Night Sorrow looked at the group of Lords of Heaven. What do you mean? Qing Emperor looked at Night Sorrow and asked. That guy's soul power has been confined by my space magic treasure. It is still being suppressed. I plan to imprison him, Night Sorrow said. Master has it. Here are 2. Take them. Qing Emperor took out 2 soul crystal balls and handed them to Night Sorrow. After putting away the soul crystal balls, Night Sorrow cupped his hands toward the group of Lords of Heaven and then returned to his tent. After entering the tent, Night Sorrow made the dragon cauldron appear. After entering, he sealed the soul of Lai Bing's doppelganger into the soul crystal ball. Lai Bing's soul power was suppressed by the dragon cauldron and could not resist. Night Sorrow handed the crystal ball that sealed Lai Bing's soul power to Datura. Aluo, see how to deal with it so that it can keep hurting him. I have a way. How about your doppelganger? Can he still participate in the battle? Datura asked. Speak. First watch. Chapter 1477. Yes. My doppelganger is currently healing in the Haotian Godly Pagoda. Without the underworld stone, It would be very troublesome. Now, I am using the underworld stone to suppress and refine the qi of death left in Lai Bing's body. It is not very difficult. Yi Shan opened his mouth and said, "Father, are you okay?" Yi Qingyan and Yi Yujun entered the tent. Yi Qingyan went to Night Sorrow's side. "I'm fine. You must be careful. Only then can I have nothing to worry about." Night Sorrow patted his daughter's shoulder and said, "Night Sorrow, you have achieved great results this time. It is equivalent to giving the enemy a heavy blow." Qing Emperor also came to Night Sorrow's tent. "Lucky. I was really lucky this time. The enemy underestimated me. If he started to use the sound wave unique skill with his doppelganger, I would be in a passive position. I would not have the chance to expand my victory at all," Night Sorrow said. "Grasping opportunities is an ability. Grasping opportunities is also an ability. Night Sorrow, this is the troubled times tree spirit sap that can restore your body. Give it a try." Tang Jianfeng took out 2 jade bottles and placed them on the table beside Night Sorrow. "Thank you, City Lord Tang." Night Sorrow cupped his hands at Tang Jianfeng. "Don't say that. The crisis of the Xuanhuan Great World is all on you. In fact, helping is a favor. Not helping is my duty. I know it very well." Tang Jianfeng sighed. It was mainly because he felt too powerless. He was a Lord of Heaven, but he had almost no influence on the battle. After chatting with Night Sorrow and Qing Emperor for a while, Tang Jianfeng left. He still had a lot of things to arrange. The direction of the battle was not easy to predict. Thus, Tang Jianfeng had to make some arrangements. At present, the group of Lords of Heaven had discussed 2 strategies. One was Night Sorrow. If he could hold off the 2 half-step monarchs, the situation could be stabilized. The other situation was that if Night Sorrow could not hold on, they would have to retreat. They would use a war of attrition and a protracted war to exhaust the enemy. No matter what, they could not lose too many people. If they wanted to retreat without suffering any losses, they would have to set up some formations to block the enemy's attacks. Those who stayed behind would have time to retreat. Night Sorrow's doppelganger was using the underworld stone to heal himself in the time-accelerated space of the Haotian Divine Pagoda. His original body was talking to his master, his wife, and his children. "Night Sorrow, don't treat the troubled times tree spirit elixir lightly. It's a diluted treasure that has a strong healing effect on the body. If you're injured, just 2 drops will quickly heal you." Qing Emperor reminded Night Sorrow. When he saw Night Sorrow casually put away the troubled times tree spirit fluid that Tang Jianfeng had left behind, he didn't pay much attention to it. "So that's how it is. Then we have to take this seriously. Good steel should be used on the edge of a blade. Only use it when you're injured in battle. Right now, my clone won't have a problem recovering, so there's no need for top-grade resources," Night Sorrow said. "Okay, be careful," Qing Emperor reminded Night Sorrow. After Qing Emperor left, Night Sorrow looked at his children and said, "You two are so troublesome. It's useless to chase you away. You promised your father that you'd stay with your Aunt Aluo. When she goes out to battle, you have to leave." "Thank you, father." Yi Qingyan sat down beside Night Sorrow and hugged her father's arm. "I really don't know what to do with you two," Night Sorrow said with a smile. "Wherever father is, it's the safest place in the world. Father, you're so impressive today. Kaka, let's kill whoever boasted." Yi Qingyan waved her right hand and made a killing gesture. Strength is fundamental, but there are many factors that determine victory and defeat. You two should take a look. Here are the transmission array discs, illusion array discs, and killing array discs. Father will set up a temporary transmission point later. If the situation doesn't look good, use the illusion array discs and killing array discs first, then activate the transmission array discs and leave. Night Sorrow took out a few array discs and a transmission crystal. He cut it and inlaid the transmission array discs, then handed them to Yi Qingyan and Yi Yujun. "Your father has thought of everything for you too, so you have to pay attention to your safety," Datura said. "Understood, Aunt." Yi Qingyan and Yi Yujun nodded. They understood their father and knew what was most important to him. "Aluo, take these array discs to Ning Yun and Chiue. They can't let anything happen to them. Night Sorrow gave a few array discs to Datura, then got up and left the tent. He had given his children and disciples the transmission array discs, so there should be a corresponding transmission array. Night Sorrow didn't want to see any accidents happen to the safety of his children and disciples. It was not difficult for Night Sorrow to fly 500,000 kilometers to set up a teleportation array and come back. It only took him a little time to do it. When Night Sorrow returned, only Datura was left in the tent. Arrow, I still have the remains of Lai Bing's doppelganger. What should we do with it? Night Sorrow asked. He knew that he was not as experienced as Datura. The skeleton of a half-step emperor is extremely valuable, but it also depends on who has it. If it is in the hands of the celestial sect, then it would be an extremely powerful battle puppet. However, we don't have any means to use it here yet. We can use the skeleton of his doppelganger to attack his true body, Datura said. This is a war, and the outcome of the war is victory or defeat. If it were just me alone, I wouldn't use any other methods. But now that millions of living beings are involved, I can't care so much, Night Sorrow said. Translator, Endless Fantasy Translation Editor. Endless Fantasy Translation, you made the right decision. They were the ones who started the war. The cultivators who are half a step away from the Imperial realm are already unscrupulous in attacking you. Since that's the case, there's no need for us to be polite. Give me the skeleton and I'll throw it into the dark abyss to feed the evil spirits. The evil spirits will affect me greatly, said Mandela. Then you do it. Night Sorrow threw the remains of Lai Bing's doppelganger to Datura. Datura took the remains of Lai Bing and left through the teleportation array. After returning to the dark abyss in the reincarnation world, Datura threw the remains of Lai Bing's doppelganger into the group of evil spirits in the dark abyss. After solving the problem of the remains of Lai Bing's doppelganger, Datura reached out his right hand and captured the king of evil spirits. Then he imprisoned it in the crystal ball that trapped the soul of Lai Bing's doppelganger. In the big tent in the Devil Blood Chi, Lai Bing, who was meditating, stood up. At the same time, he destroyed everything in front of him with a palm strike. At this moment, his soul was in pain. He was enduring the pain of his soul being gnawed. Damn it. What did they do to my doppelganger's soul power? Lai Bing was going crazy. He knew that he was being attacked. His doppelganger's soul was being attacked, and his body was in unbearable pain. Xie Bing came to Lai Bing's tent. Senior brother, what happened? Junior brother, this time I failed miserably. Not only did my doppelganger die, but now the enemy is attacking my doppelganger's remains and soul. If I don't solve this problem, it will be a big problem. Let alone my future achievements, I don't even know if I can survive. Lai Bing understood the seriousness of the problem. Say second update. Thank you for unlocking yesterday's chapter. Chapter 1480. A Genius Remembers Love in 1 Second? I'll bring you an exciting novel to read. Night Sorrow saw the destruction of a spatial world. It was a scene of destruction when one's lifespan was exhausted. First, the land, sea, and space in the spatial world all cracked. Then, the spatial world was compressed toward the center. Then, there was a violent explosion. The huge spatial world collapsed instantly. Mountains, rivers, and everything turned into nothingness. The spatial origin couldn't withstand it and was annihilated into nothingness. The collapse of the spatial world gave Night Sorrow some inspiration. All along, Night Sorrow's forte in the Void attribute was the Void Extreme Point Kill. It was also the starting point for him to comprehend the rules and willpower. That was the starting point. What Night Sorrow needed now was the ending point. At this moment, Night Sorrow saw the ending point. The 10,000 creations' ultimate destruction was a perfect cycle. It was a completely different feeling. The Void Extreme Point Kill used a point to erupt and radiate in all directions. What was displayed in front of Night Sorrow now? It was the great annihilation where everything returned to the origin to the extreme. With this realization, Night Sorrow's original body and doppelganger instantly switched positions. The original body entered the Haotian godly pagoda to organize what he had just learned. The doppelganger appeared in front of everyone to suppress the current situation. The original body went to comprehend while Night Sorrow's doppelganger waved his arm. What's wrong? Datura, who took time to go back to the city in the sky to see his son, came back. Opportunity, I found an opportunity. Night Sorrow grabbed Datura's shoulders with both hands and said excitedly, What? You just became a peak monarch not long ago, and you found an opportunity? You're not lying to me? Datura was also a little excited. A monarch and a heaven monarch were completely different concepts. Night Sorrow's peak monarch could fight against a half-step imperial realm cultivator. He could even kill one, but it was still a little difficult. Because his own level was not high enough and his realm was not high enough, he could only rely on his battle techniques and the void attribute to suppress his opponent. However, when he reached the heaven monarch realm, it was different. It was a perfect ending for a tier 8 expert. I'm not lying to you. It was really a coincidence. When the 9 Zones world was moving, I used the perspective of the 9 Zones world origin to see the great destruction of a space world. I have the starting point of the nihility will, but what I lack is the end. The great destruction is the end, Night Sorrow said. If that's all right, then I'll be waiting to congratulate you. Datura was extremely happy. No matter how strong a woman was, she still wanted to see her man achieve something. If everything goes well, there won't be a problem. I need to prepare for my tribulation, said Night Sorrow. Tribulation? You idiot. The Heaven Monarch realm is a perfected realm. It is not a new realm. There is no thunder tribulation. Only when one enters the King realm and the Arch realm will there be thunder tribulation. Datura said with a smile. She found it strange. Night Sorrow, who had some knowledge and some things at an idiot level, had cultivated to this realm in less than 200 years. It was simply unimaginable. I am an idiot, but my wife is not an idiot. I don't need to worry about anything, Night Sorrow said with a smile. Great wisdom can be foolish. That's right for people like you. Simple but perfect. Datura took out a bottle of wine and poured 2 cups for himself and Night Sorrow. Father, Auntie, your little life is really good. Yi Qingyan entered the tent. You naughty child. You say everything. Datura glared at Yi Qingyan. Andy, I was wrong. Father, are you in a good mood? Yi Qingyan looked at Night Sorrow and asked. Not bad. You and Lord Feather have made good progress recently. Night Sorrow nodded at his daughter. Night Sorrow did not tell his daughter about himself. He did not want to affect her life. The original body was comprehending the last bit of will in the Haotian godly pagoda. Night Sorrow began to study new combat skills. He had developed the Void Extreme Kill in the past. Now that he had a new understanding, he could study combat skills. When Night Sorrow was studying combat skills every day, a big figure came to the Demon Blood world. It was the High Priest of the Demon Blood world. Although he was a heaven monarch, his status in the Demon Blood world was very high. Even the leader Demon Blood General respected him greatly. He had many means to solve problems that could not be solved by force. Khufu's figure was a little weak. He looked like a scholar. His face was pale and his breath was pale. Xie Bing brought him to Lai Bing's tent. Seeing Lai Bing's weak state, Khufu shook his head and said, Lai Bing, you have been greatly affected. Lai Bing stood up and said, High Priest, I wasn't careful enough this time and fell into the enemy's trap. Now, the enemy is using my doppelganger's soul force and bones to continuously attack the main body. I can't stand it anymore. Then Khufu asked about the situation. He checked Lai Bing and said, The situation is not good. If you can't get back your doppelganger's soul power and skeleton through negotiation, you have to destroy them. If this continues, you will feel fear in your heart and your Dao heart will collapse. Negotiation won't work. I went to talk to them. They didn't want to talk at all. Xie Bing said helplessly. Then you have to think about why they don't want to talk. There is nothing in this world that can't be talked about. The key is to grasp the key point. Why don't they want to talk? It's because your existence is a threat. As long as it's not a threat and you pay the price, There is nothing that can't be talked about. Khufu said. Indeed, they don't want to return Senior Brother's avatar's soul power and skeleton because they're worried that we'll attack Senior Brother after he recovers. If we promise Senior Brother that we won't participate in this war and pay a price, they'll negotiate with us, Khufu said. Xie Bing understood the key point. No. We all know the strength of that Night Sorrow. If I withdraw from this war, it will be difficult for you to win. High Priest, please use a secret technique to destroy my doppelganger's soul and skeleton. This way, I can continue to fight after I recover. The Devil Blood Domain must win this war. Lai Bing said. If that's the case, Lai Bing, you can't withdraw from the war. Then we can talk about a time limit. After you get back your doppelganger's soul and skeleton, you have to promise not to participate in this war for a few years. It's best if we don't destroy your doppelganger's soul and skeleton. Khufu said. Then let's talk tomorrow. Xie Bing thought for a while and said. He naturally didn't want Lai Bing to suffer heavy losses. Forever X Free / #read PQ Novels Night Sorrow was still cultivating his ultimate skill called the Nihility Returns to Origin Kill. The Nihility Extremity Kill used a single point to destroy everything. The Nihility Returns to Origin Kill was the exact opposite. It gathered a large amount of Nihility energy at a single point before exploding and collapsing. The power was equally astonishing. Seeing Night Sorrow's new combat skill taking shape, Datura knew that Night Sorrow wouldn't be obstructed from entering the Heaven Monarch realm. Once the new combat skill was completed, the last bit of willpower wouldn't be a problem. Chapter 1481. Genius 1 second. Remember Love Go / Little? I'll bring you a wonderful novel to read. Seeing the enemy's troops appear, Night Sorrow carried Lai Kong to the front of the formation. Is there a change of people this time? Night Sorrow asked. He could see that the other side had no intention of fighting. If they wanted to fight, they wouldn't have sent 2 people. Young man, we can talk, said Khufu. Is there a need to talk? Night Sorrow looked at Khufu. Talking is one thing. Success or failure is another. It mainly depends on sincerity and the price. If the price is high enough, then the negotiation will be successful, said Khufu with a smile. I want Lai Bing to lose his ability to fight. I want him to live a life worse than death. What price can you pay to get him back? I don't think so, said Night Sorrow with a smile. You don't want Lai Bing to lose his ability to fight because he threatens the safety of the Chaos Realm. But have you thought about it? With your current methods, losing his ability to fight is only temporary. I'm here to solve this problem. You don't have to doubt that I can solve it. The drawback is that Lai Bing needs time to recover. I'm here to talk to you. During this time, Lai Bing won't fight. You can name the price, said Khufu. How long will it take? Night Sorrow thought for a moment and asked. 3 years. After 3 years, you can do whatever you want, said Khufu. It's not impossible for him to not fight for 3 years, but the price. Are you prepared to pay a big price? Asked Night Sorrow. There's nothing to be prepared for. We have to talk until both sides agree, said Khufu with a smile. I originally wanted to torture him to death. If you're willing to pay a big price to get him back, it's not impossible. 3 years, right? 1 million Saint Spirit Stones a year. Don't haggle. I don't really want to talk about it. Night Sorrow said. Then let's go back and discuss it. Khufu cupped his hands towards Night Sorrow. He could see that there was no point in negotiating because Night Sorrow wouldn't make any concessions. After seeing Khufu and Xie Bing leave, Night Sorrow turned around and returned to the United Army camp. Tang Jianfeng and Qing Emperor followed closely behind and also went to Night Sorrow's tent because they were very anxious. Night Sorrow, this isn't a good idea. If that guy recovers, we won't be able to hold on. No amount of Saint Spirit Stones will be of any use. Tang Jianfeng's face was filled with anxiety. Yeah, Night Sorrow, what do you think this time? Qing Emperor asked. He needs 3 years, but I don't. Maybe a year, maybe half a year, maybe even less, and I can completely suppress them, Night Sorrow said. What do you mean? Why don't I understand? Tang Jianfeng was confused. Night Sorrow found an opportunity to break through. His original body is in seclusion, and it's only a matter of time before he breaks through to the heavenly monarch realm. Datura waved his hand and said after setting up a barrier. That person is only a heavenly monarch, but his aura is strange. It's similar to Uncle Xian Daozi. I think he does have a way to solve Lai Bing's problem. If that's the case, it's best to get some resources. He won't fight for 3 years, and that's what I want, Night Sorrow said. Sorry, I misunderstood you. Then let's do it this way. 3 million Saint Spirit Stones. No matter how rich the Devil Blood domain is, they will lose a lot of money, Tang Jianfeng said. He was in a good mood because he saw hope. There was a difference between a sovereign realm and a heavenly monarch realm. Night Sorrow was a sovereign realm now, but everyone had seen his combat strength. Once he entered the heavenly monarch realm, his strength would increase tremendously. The opponent's half-step sovereign realm would no longer be a threat. Very good. Master is waiting to celebrate for you and for myself. Brother Tang, if both of my disciples enter the heavenly monarch realm, I, as a master, will be unprecedented. Qing Emperor said with a smile. He was also very happy. That goes without saying. Night Sorrow, we won't disturb you anymore. Let's go for a drink. Tang Jianfeng pulled Qing Emperor out of Night Sorrow's tent. Night Sorrow and Datura chatted casually. He was very relaxed now. He was very confident that as long as he reached the heavenly monarch realm, he would be able to solve this crisis. Lai Bing needed 3 years, and in reality, 3 years was enough for Night Sorrow to cultivate in the Haotian Divine Pagoda for 150 years. At this time, in the big tent in the Devil Blood Qi, Kufu, Lai Bing, and Xie Bing were also talking. 3 million. He must be crazy. What does he think it is? A stone? Lai Bing was furious when he heard that Night Sorrow wanted 3 million Saint Spirit Stones. He only had a little more than 1 million Saint Spirit Stones in his collection. He couldn't afford 3 million Saint Spirit Stones from Night Sorrow. Lai Bing, have you thought about it? As long as you are fine, why would you care about the Saint Spirit Stones? As long as we take over the Chaos Realm, they won't spit out the 3 million Saint Spirit Stones. Ku Fu looked at Lai Bing and reminded him. That's right. As long as we can take over the Chaos Realm, not to mention spitting out the 3 million Saint Spirit Stones, we can even plunder a few million Saint Spirit Stones. I can gather 1 million Saint Spirit Stones, Xie Bing said. Then I will make the decision to transfer 1 million Saint Spirit Stones from our Devil Blood City's City Lord Mansion. However, you have to pay it back as soon as possible, Kufu said. Thank you, High Priest. Lai Bing nodded at Kufu. I can help you destroy the soul and body of your doppelganger, but you will suffer a great loss and your origin will be damaged. It's best if you can get it back. Then you have to find a way to gather 2 million Saint Spirit Stones. I will go back and get 1 million for you. We have to be fast. Don't let that guy change his mind. Anything can happen before we reach a deal. He is young and inexperienced, but there are still some old guys. After reminding Lai Bing and Xie Bing, Kufu left to help gather the Saint Spirit Stones. Night Sorrow had been studying the Void returning to Origin Kill. In addition, he was also trying to combine the Extreme Point Kill and the Returning to Origin Kill. One was to break the surface, while the other was to combine the 4 sides. They were 2 completely different extremes. If they could complement and multiply each other, the power would be great. After practicing the Dharma body, Night Sorrow had breakfast with Datura and his children in the morning. They mainly chatted. Night Sorrow also asked about his children's practice. At this time, Yi Qingyan and Yu Jun were both at the peak of the Saint Realm. In addition to practicing fighting skills, they also needed to enter the Return to Origin Realm. At this time, Xie Bing and Ku Fu appeared. They had spent a lot of time to gather enough Saint Spirit Stones. Now, they planned to trade with Night Sorrow. They were afraid that a long delay might lead to trouble. Night Sorrow rode the ice Qilin to the front of the battlefield. 3 million Saint Spirit Stones are here. As long as you return the soul and body of my senior brother's doppelganger, it will be yours. Xie Bing showed the storage ring in his hand. Square root head equals hair, you are really rich. It seems that I asked for too little. But it's okay. Tell Lai Bing to come out. Some things need to be solved by the person involved. Aluo, go and bring that skeleton here. Night Sorrow turned around and shouted at Datura. Chapter 1484. I called all of you here today because I wanted to gather as a family and also to celebrate your father and master. Come, little Luo, congratulate your father for entering the Heaven Monarch realm. Mandela poured a cup of wine and handed it to her son. Hearing Datura's words, everyone in the tent was pleasantly surprised. They couldn't help but stand up. Everyone sit down. We're all family. Make yourselves at home. Night Sorrow waved his hand for everyone to sit down. Xiaoluo, congratulations on reaching the Heavenly Monarch realm. Yi Xiaoluo's voice was filled with childishness. All right, you rascal. I was going to teach you a lesson. You're so disobedient. I'll let you off today. Night Sorrow took the wine cup from Yi Xiaoluo's hand and drank it in one gulp. Xiaoluo, be obedient in the future. Yi Xiaoluo nodded. Night Sorrow didn't scold or be fierce. In the eyes of his children, he was the most important person. His words were the rules. The four of you have cultivated well. Your foundations are very stable. Remember, good preparation is the way of the king. Night Sorrow looked at Yi Qingyan and the others and said. While they were talking, Night Sorrow felt that something was wrong with his main body. Luo, I have something urgent to do. Stay with the children. After speaking, Night Sorrow's clone went to the side to meditate. After his main body appeared, he took the Haoyin Godly Pagoda and left the camp. Qingyan, protect father. If anything happens, call Grandmaster or Martial Uncle. At this moment, Datura also realized that something was wrong. Night Sorrow's clone had turned green. She then chased after Night Sorrow's main body and left the camp. When they reached a desolate area, Yishang stopped and turned his head to look at Mandela, who had caught up to him. Protect me. Although there is no lightning tribulation, other tribulations are coming. At this moment, Night Sorrow's body was covered in green. It wanted to suck everything out of Night Sorrow's body. Seeing Night Sorrow meditating, Datura's eyes were filled with worry. She understood what was going on. She had never seen the legendary tribulation of wind and fire, but there were records in the ancient books. What appeared on Night Sorrow's face was the sign of a tribulation of wind. Night Sorrow operated his leakless true body to the extreme, resisting the wind energy that came from outside his body. At this moment, the wind energy that wrapped around him was about to drill into his body and extract the energy and life energy in his body. Datura held her hollowed-out blade and stared at everything, protecting Night Sorrow. As for Night Sorrow's doppelganger, she wasn't worried because it was a subsidiary. Everything was a reflection of the main body. If the main body could withstand it, then the doppelganger would be fine. The pressure was great. Even with his leakless true body, Night Sorrow still felt a lot of pressure. He then released his nihility will to resist the wind will. The perfect will of nothingness burst forth, and with the power of will, the pressure from the wind calamity was cancelled out, which lessened the pressure on Night Sorrow. He could sense that this was an extreme wind. If it drilled into his body, its destructive power would be terrifying. Night Sorrow resisted with all his strength. The wind tribulation's energy revolved around Night Sorrow's body. Datura kept watching. The current situation was very grim. The wind tribulation's power was too great, and she couldn't even get close. Within Night Sorrow's tent, Sandalwood had arrived. She had been invited by Night Sorrow. Shiyu and Shitai had also arrived. They had come to chat with Night Sorrow when they encountered this. Why is the wind tribulation of wind and fire so strong? Shitai was puzzled. You know. Sandalwood looked at the two of them. Yes. When we came out of the Ice Dragon realm, we experienced wind tribulation and fire tribulation, but they weren't this strong. They weren't even half as strong as this one. If it's this strong, we'll die, said Shiyu. Junior apprentice brother's situation is a bit special. Fortunately, his defenses are stable, said Sandalwood as she looked at Night Sorrow's clone. Night Sorrow was doing his best to resist the wind tribulation's invasion. With the leakless true body protecting him, the nihility will, space-time will, nihility will, nihility will, nihility will, space will, nihility will, time will, and space will to protect him, weakening the wind tribulation's power. At this moment, Qing Emperor and Misty Rain also sensed the disturbance. What's going on? Qing Emperor entered Night Sorrow's tent and looked at Night Sorrow's clone. Auntie called us to celebrate with Father. We had just sat down when something happened to Father. Yi Qingyan's face was filled with anxiety. He's entered the heavenly monarch realm. But even so, he shouldn't have such a tribulation. Legend has it that the wind tribulation and fire tribulation only appears when one reaches the 9th rank, said Misty Rain. That's not important. Guard this place first. Fei Xiu, inform City Lord Tang, Wu Ling Mountain Master, and the others to prepare for battle, said Qing Emperor to Fei Xiu, who was outside the tent. He was worried that Xie Bing and the others would launch an attack after discovering the situation. However, the main tents of the United Forces camp all had illusory formations. Time passed bit by bit. Night Sorrow's condition was very stable because he could prevent the wind tribulation's energy from entering his body. Seeing that Night Sorrow was stable, Datura also felt at ease. In the past countless years, she had never worried about anyone or been afraid of anything. But now, she was really worried because she cared about Night Sorrow. Night Sorrow was her husband and the father of her son. The Scion-like wind energy carried the momentum of heaven and earth and kept sweeping toward Night Sorrow, but it didn't seem to have any effect. Time passed in the confrontation. 1 day, 2 days, and on the morning of the 3rd day, the wind energy dissipated, but the Scion energy was still there. The Scion energy gathered together and turned into a very condensed milky white halo. This halo rushed toward Night Sorrow's head. Night Sorrow used his energy to defend himself, but in fact, it didn't work. This milky white halo directly entered Night Sorrow's spirit sea. Then, it spread out and merged with Night Sorrow's soul power. The Heavenly Way's reward. Night Sorrow understood that this was the Heavenly Way's reward for successfully passing the wind tribulation. The power of the tribulation was strong, but there was always a limit. Night Sorrow could withstand it, but the Heavenly Way's reward was different. It didn't hurt him and was given by the Heavenly Way. He couldn't refuse it. After feeling his body, Night Sorrow stood up. After standing up, Night Sorrow felt awkward for a moment. The robe on his body turned into nothingness. This was caused by the energy impact. Yong Jie Jiu I Free 5 Fee read you novel. After taking out a set of clothes and putting it on, Night Sorrow looked at Datura. Okay, the power of this wind tribulation is very strong, but I can still withstand it. It's okay now. Datura looked at Night Sorrow from head to toe. It's okay. I just ruined the celebration banquet you prepared for me. Night Sorrow stepped forward and held Datura's hand. At this time, Night Sorrow's clone also stood up. Master's wife, you are all here. You successfully broke through. Why didn't you tell us and let us celebrate? Qing Emperor looked at Night Sorrow with eyes full of praise. Night Sorrow's achievement made him very happy. The banquet isn't over yet. Let's continue. Junior brother, we must drink well today. Sandalwood said. Of course. Night Sorrow's main body entered the tent and merged with his clone. Chapter 1485. Everyone is here. Night Sorrow's matter has troubled everyone. Night Sorrow cupped his hands at everyone. Then, everyone brought the banquet outside the tent. In addition, Qing Emperor, Tang Jianfeng, and Heaven Lord Shenwu ordered that the Alliance army would celebrate today. Of course, they didn't say the reason because it wasn't necessary. It was enough for the higher-ups to know the reason. Night Sorrow, you used to call me Uncle Tang, but you can't anymore. I toast you with this wine to thank you. Tang Jianfeng stood up and held the wine bowl. Heaven Lord had a high status. Unless it was a very close senior or junior, everyone else was treated as equals. It's not like that. I remember clearly that the first time I came to the Black-Yellow Great World, I wanted to visit Uncle Tang. During this time, we were fighting against the Devil Blood Domain. Before joining the camp, I called you City Lord Tang, Night Sorrow said. That's not important. The most important thing for me now is to feel comfortable. If they don't like it, they can fight again, Heaven Lord Shenhu said with a smile. Everyone was happy, so they drank more wine. Night Sorrow was in a good mood. After taking this step, his ability would be greatly improved and he would be able to solve some problems. After the banquet, Night Sorrow's original body went to the Haotian Godly Pagoda to understand and familiarize himself with the new realm. Since he had a new realm, he had to improve his combat strength. His doppelganger cultivated his combat skills in the illusion formation he had set up. After comprehending his willpower to perfection, Night Sorrow's attack power and unique skill power increased again. The Alliance army calmed down. The higher-ups were confident and their aura was different. Naturally, the soldiers felt the same. After cultivating for half a month, Night Sorrow's doppelganger took the 9 regions origin bead from his original body and told Datura about it. After arriving at the Black-Yellow City, he was teleported to the 9 regions world. At this moment, the 9 regions world had arrived at the predetermined area. Night Sorrow wanted to take a look. The 9 regions origin bead was with Night Sorrow and not in the world. The world origin bead's detection range was limited. After arriving at the 9 domain world, Night Sorrow first accompanied his parents and wife to chat for a while. After his family members went to cultivate, Night Sorrow sailed the boat alone in the large lake. The bright moon hung high in the sky. Night Sorrow could still remember the past. Back then, he had often come here to find the feeling of returning to his original self. Looking at the bright moon in the sky, Night Sorrow knew that it was the Shaoyin astral realm, which was above countless space worlds. The Shaoyin astral realm and the Sun astral realm were the 2 most special space worlds. They were the extremes of yin and yang. After drinking a jar of wine, Night Sorrow rested on the small boat. Just like a normal person, he lay on the deck chair, covered with a blanket, and enjoyed the night breeze. YXS Initial 4D sank after dawn. Night Sorrow took the teleportation array to 9 Regions City and then went to the Heaven Ceiling Great Hall. Night Sorrow did not get a title anymore. Back then, he had gotten the title of Endless Saint King. Later, because the 9 Regions world was not a high-level world, he could not continue to get the title of king, so he did not continue to care about it. The 9 Regions origin body seemed to know what Night Sorrow was thinking and gave him an answer. Night Sorrow, I can get the title of Immortal King for you now. However, it is meaningless. You have the potential to become immortal. The fact that you can fight a half-step emperor proves this point. The title of Immortal is very domineering. Night Sorrow smiled and entered the Heaven Ceiling Great Hall. When he reached the top floor, he used his soul power to activate the 9 Regions origin bead. Then let's start investigating. I'll use my soul power to help you, Night Sorrow said. The 9 Regions origin body could investigate the surroundings on its own, but with Night Sorrow's help, the range would be even larger. You and the 9 Regions world complement each other. I can protect your divine sea soul, and you can also give the 9 Regions world stability. Even if your lifespan reaches the end of the Great Calamity, the 9 Regions world can still woo you. The 9 Regions origin body floated out of the origin bead. You're not afraid of the Great Calamity? Night Sorrow looked at the 9 Regions origin body with some surprise. Other spatial worlds might be afraid of the Great Calamity, but this body is not, because you are the host, said the 9 Regions origin body. Then can't the other world origins recognize a master and find a host to avoid the Great Calamity? Night Sorrow asked. How could it be that easy? When a world is Great Calamity, the world's origin will violently tremble. Ordinary hosts will be shattered by the chaotic wills and laws. Only one kind of person can resist it. Only cultivators with supreme attributes can restrain and suppress the wills and laws brought about by the Great Calamity. Moreover, they must be a high-level king or above. Only such a will can resist the damage caused by the Great Calamity, said the 9 Regions origin body. So that's how it is. Then I understand. After hearing the 9 Regions origin body's explanation, Night Sorrow understood the principle. If you weren't the realm master of the 9 Regions world, the other world origins would fight to recognize you as their master. You were born in the 9 Regions world. This is a blessing for this body, as well as for the millions of life forms in the 9 Regions world. The Nine Regions world is a newborn world and is far from being destroyed. Of course, when that day comes, we can deal with it. We can transfer life forms to other worlds. After the world is destroyed, this body can create a new spatial world. At that time, we can return and start anew. The Nine Regions origin body explained the future of the Nine Regions world. I understand. Let's start investigating the surrounding situation. After saying that, Night Sorrow's spiritual force erupted and entered the Nine Regions origin bead. At this time, no one could see that outside the Nine Regions world's barrier, light waves of energy were radiating in all directions, radiating into the boundless chaotic space. The origin energy of a high-level world was extremely powerful. Now that Night Sorrow had activated the Nine Regions origin bead and mobilized the entire world's origin energy, its probing power was extremely powerful. In 1 day, 2 days, the world's origin energy spread out without limit. 5 days later, the probing ended. Night Sorrow also drew a spatial world layout diagram. Night Sorrow and the Nine Regions world's origin body looked at the layout diagram together and then circled it. The origin energy of these worlds is very powerful. When our world's origin energy probed over, it was directly repelled and scattered. I feel that the aura is even stronger than that of a great world. The Nine Regions world's origin body pointed at the layout diagram and said, "It's not a big problem. This time, we've probed a very large distance. These worlds are relatively far away. They are even in the periphery of the primal chaos realm." Night Sorrow said. This time, he and the Nine Regions world's origin body had probed a very large area. Their world's origin energy had even gone beyond the primal chaos realm and probed the 3 great worlds. Because of Night Sorrow's aura, the origin energy of the 3 great worlds did not repel them. There's no problem with our current location. Even if there is a problem, the other 3 great worlds will bear the brunt of it. The Nine Regions world's origin body said. All right. In the future, the Nine Regions world will develop at full speed here. Even if there is a tribulation to become a great world, we will be able to resist it. The number of experts in the Nine Regions world will also increase. No matter what pressure comes, there won't be a problem. Night Sorrow let out a breath. He was now very confident in facing everything. Chapter 1492. Senior, am I strong enough now? Night Sorrow was pleasantly surprised when he heard what the original body of the Xuanhuan Great World had said. Sage, I'm the Merit Great Sage and a powerful Lord of Heaven with supreme attributes. You should be able to pass it, but you might encounter some trouble. These are all secrets. When an expert appears and has the chance to reach the Emperor realm, the 3 worlds' origins in the chaotic realm will tell them. 2 powerful practitioners appeared in the Shenwu Great World and the Samsara Great World, but they didn't succeed and were forced to retreat. They chose other ways to leave the chaotic realm, but their current situation is unknown. The original body of the Xuanhuan Great World said, Human Sovereign and Blood Saber Sage. Night Sorrow thought of them when he heard the 2 outstanding practitioners mentioned by the original body of the Xuanhuan Great World. It's them. They reached the peak of the Lord of Heaven, but they didn't comprehend the momentum. Although Sage didn't comprehend the momentum, his fighting intent is the prototype of the momentum. In addition, Sage's body is so strong that he can withstand some turbulent astral winds and even the wind and fire tribulations in the passage. The original body of the Xuanhuan Great World said, I heard that there was a practitioner who tried to break through to the 9th stage of the Emperor realm in the chaotic realm, but he died because he couldn't withstand the wind and fire tribulations. It doesn't seem to conform to the rules, Night Sorrow said. I know about it. He was an evil practitioner who mainly cultivated doppelgangers. After his doppelgangers were completed, his original body self-destructed. Then his soul took over an unborn baby's body and continued to cultivate doppelgangers. He planned to merge with his doppelgangers and break through the critical point. It's true that he wanted to prove his Tao by strength, but what he did was not tolerated by the way of heaven, so he was destroyed. The Xuanhuan Great World explained the reason for the previous incident to Night Sorrow. I see. Then I'll ask you a few more questions. What does it mean to prove one's Tao by strength? Night Sorrow noticed the words, prove one's Tao by strength. Sage always grasps the key points. If you want to become an emperor, you must control the general trend of heaven and earth. The general trend of heaven and earth is the control of the Tao. There were generally two ways to grasp the Tao. The first way was to go with the flow, which was to slowly understand and control the rules, the will, and the momentum of the world. The other way was to break through with brute force, which was to prove one's Tao with strength. Using strength to prove one's Tao is to break through the rules and break through the critical point. In fact, the sage monarchs have these two kinds of potential. There's no need to talk about taking advantage of the situation, as the sage monarchs are walking on this path. When the sage monarchs refine their body, if the energy in their body can break through the rules and break the general trend, then they will reach the emperor realm. The mysterious yellow origin body patiently explained to Night Sorrow. So that's how it is. Junior will first go and settle the matters of the devil blood domain. When I return, I will slowly discuss the details with Senior. At that time, I hope Senior won't find it troublesome. Night Sorrow stood up and said, "Alright, but wait a moment. I have something to give you, Sage. You should know that there is a heavenly law artifact in the Heaven and Earth Pavilion. Every time the Heaven and Earth Pavilion opens, many cultivators come for the heavenly law artifact. There is a heavenly law artifact in the Heaven and Earth Pavilion." The mysterious yellow great world's origin body said. "Didn't you say that as long as you pass through the Heaven and Earth Pavilion, there will always be a suitable heavenly law artifact? Why is there only one?" Night Sorrow asked. "It's like this. The actual body of this heavenly law artifact is an inner armor called the mysterious yellow armor. Before it recognizes an owner, it can take any form. However, the strongest form is the armor. Not only can it protect the upper body, it can also protect the spirit sea. Now, I will give it to the sage monarchs." The mysterious yellow world's origin body took out a silver-white soft armor and placed it on the table in front of it. "Is this appropriate?" Night Sorrow was stunned for a moment. The mysterious yellow armor will belong to the sage monarchs sooner or later. Last time, the sage monarchs did not take it and chose the heavenly law flower. However, the mysterious yellow armor has intersected with the mysterious yellow armor in fate. This time, the sage monarchs fought for the mysterious yellow great world and won the realm war. The mysterious yellow armor is most suitable for the sage monarchs. The mysterious yellow world's origin body pushed the mysterious yellow armor in front of Night Sorrow. "Senior, I still have some questions. What is the difference between a heavenly law artifact and an origin artifact?" Night Sorrow asked. He had always been confused about this question. Then, the mysterious yellow world's origin body explained the difference between a heavenly law artifact and an origin artifact to Night Sorrow. At the beginning of a world, a heavenly law artifact would be born in the most special area, where the will and law were the strongest and the spirit chi was the densest. The heavenly law artifact would be born and grow for a longer period of time. The older the world, the more mature the heavenly law artifact would be, and the more powerful it would be. Among the chaos realm, the reincarnation world had existed for the longest time. Therefore, the heavenly law artifact, the Haotian godly pagoda, nurtured by the reincarnation world, was the most powerful. The mysterious yellow armor of the mysterious yellow world was also very mature. Its defensive power was tyrannical. On the other hand, the heavenly law artifact born in the Shenwu Great World was discovered and taken away by Lord of Heaven Shenhu before it had matured. In comparison, it was the worst. The origin artifact was related to the origin of a world. It was the origin artifact that the origin artifact blessed the weapon or armor with the power of the origin. The origin artifact had its limitations. There was a certain difference between it and the heavenly law artifact. Of course, it also depended on which world the heavenly law artifact was born in and whether it was mature. The Haotian godly pagoda was born in the reincarnation world. The reincarnation world involved the ultimate meaning of life and death. It was the reincarnation between life and death. The space-time Tao it displayed was very strong. Therefore, the Haotian Godly Pagoda was strong in spacetime. Cool K read HH novels for free forever. Do you understand now? The mysterious yellow world's origin body asked Night Sorrow. Junior understands. Night Sorrow nodded. After listening to the explanation of the mysterious yellow world's origin body, he understood. Then Night Sorrow took the mysterious yellow armor and left Mysterious Yellow City, returning to the Nine Regions world. Night Sorrow first placed the Haotian Godly Detective's secondary body in the city in the sky and told his parents and wife about it. At the same time, he put away the spatial treasure that could accelerate time by 5 times. Night Sorrow planned to give it to Nu Lin for the soldiers of the Nine Heavens Legion to use. After solving the problem of the Haotian Godly Pagoda's secondary body, Night Sorrow took out the mysterious yellow armor to recognize it as its master. After dripping blood on it and refining it with his soul power, Night Sorrow understood how powerful the mysterious yellow armor was. The mysterious yellow armor was a mature heavenly law artifact in the form of an inner armor. Not only could it protect the internal organs and dantian, but it could also protect the spirit sea and soul. When cultivators above the king realm fought, they would usually attack the spirit sea and dantian if they wanted to injure their opponent. The other parts were useless. So what if you chopped off a leg? The opponent would still fly away. The mysterious yellow armor was an inner armor. It was neither flashy nor flashy, but its defense was very comprehensive. Night Sorrow sensed that the mysterious yellow armor's defense had already surpassed the Haotian Godly Pagodas. It wasn't that the mysterious yellow armor was of a higher level than the Haotian Godly Pagoda. It was just that the two specialized in different areas. The Haotian Godly Pagoda leaned towards supporting cultivation and defense, while the mysterious yellow armor specialized in defense. That was why its defense was extremely tyrannical. Night Sorrow's main body's defense had never been a problem. With the Nine Regions origin bead protecting his spirit sea and the Haotian Godly Pagoda protecting his body, the defense was perfect. However, his avatar's defense was a bit lacking. In other words, Night Sorrow only had one set of defensive treasures. Chapter 1496. The leader of the Devil Blood region, the Magic Dragon General, was an evil dragon from a branch of the dragons. He called himself the Magic Dragon. His 2 disciples, Lai Bing and Xie Bing, led the army. He also had a daughter who had awakened her bloodline. She was the princess of the Devil Blood region, Dragon Lady. She knew the dragon language. The Magic Dragon General was a branch of the dragons, but his daughter had awakened a pure dragon bloodline. She had been a Lord of Heaven for a long time. She had been in seclusion for the past few years. She wanted to be half a step away from becoming an emperor. She was strong in combat, but her realm was not high enough. Tian Lan used to be Dragon Lady's guard. He later joined the army. He felt that if he made a contribution, Dragon Lady might help him when she came out of seclusion and learned about his current situation. Tian Lan, this matter depends on you. We can only solve this problem if the princess shows up, Tianju said. Night Sorrow listened and knew that these blood-armored warriors were transformed by Xie Bing through special means. After Tianju and the other 2 returned to their respective positions to meditate, Night Sorrow moved the Haotian Godly Pagoda slightly and left the area. After reaching the safe area, Night Sorrow flashed out of the Haotian Godly Pagoda. Then he brought Datura out as well. You heard what they said, right? Their bodies have merged with something special. I can feel that it contains very strong energy. It is very violent. Their body's defense is also very strong. Night Sorrow said. He had asked Little Kong to open up the isolation of the Haotian Godly Pagoda to Datura. Therefore, Datura knew about the conversation and situation of Tianju and the other 2. However, he did not know as clearly as Night Sorrow. They did use some tricks. Datura nodded. The Mad Blood Evil Stone is something they merged with their bodies. I don't know what it is. Also, they mentioned a Dragon Lady Princess. She should be a key figure, Night Sorrow said. That's right. Those 3 Heaven Monarchs are Xie Bing's subordinates. They are counting on this Dragon Princess to solve their predicament. This means that this dragon princess's status is at least equal to Xie Bing and Lai Bing, or even higher. Datura shared his analysis. Knight Sorrow nodded. He agreed with Datura's analysis. Let's go to the other cities and investigate the situation. We'll investigate their civilization, strength, and organization structure, Knight Sorrow said. Datura smiled. Once we pass through the other party's blockade, we'll just treat it as a vacation. However, it will be difficult to return. It's not difficult at all. The difficulty of our trip here is to enter. If we want to go back, we can just set up a teleportation array, Knight Sorrow said with a smile. I forgot about that. I only thought about the wormhole and forgot that you can set up teleportation arrays, Datura said with a chuckle. Chapter D Section Z on iNet. After that, the two of them flew away and left the area. An hour later, the two of them arrived outside a city. After probing, Knight Sorrow looked at Datura. We have a different image from them. Therefore, we have to be more restrained. That's not difficult. Datura's body shook and became shorter. The women from the Devil Blood world were petite while Datura was tall and had fair skin. The difference was huge. She changed her body and then used death energy to change her skin. Knight Sorrow looked at her and was a little confused. It's for convenience. Once we go back, I'll change back, Datura said. Yi Shang nodded and made his body stronger as well. Actually, our world's men and women are more harmonious. What is this now? Datura was a little dissatisfied. Knight Sorrow pulled Datura into the city and strolled around. After listening to other people's conversations, Knight Sorrow realized that the people of the Devil Blood world spoke the same language as the people of the Primal Chaos world. There were no tea houses in the city. However, there were many restaurants. Knight Sorrow and Datura entered a restaurant and found a quiet corner. Knight Sorrow, they speak the same language as us. Back then, Xie Bing and Lai Bing were shouting in the same language as us, Datura said. In the following month, Knight Sorrow and Datura investigated the Devil Blood world. There were 3 worlds in the Devil Blood world. Each world had a different ruler. Xie Bing and Lai Bing were one of them. The other ruler was the Dragon Princess. The leader of the 3 worlds and the 3,000 worlds in the Devil Blood world was the Magic Dragon General. He was an Emperor-level cultivator and an evil dragon. When the Qing Emperor was injured by the Celestial Sex puppet, he was poisoned by the evil dragon's poison centipede. However, it was only a monarch-level evil dragon. The strongest person in the Devil Blood world was naturally the Magic Dragon General. The second strongest person was not the 2 half-step Emperor-level cultivators, but the Dragon Princess. Talent. The Dragon Princess was very talented. Because she had awakened her dragon bloodline, which was of a higher level than her father's, the Magic Dragon General's bloodline, she was very powerful. However, she only stayed in the water world, which was the world she ruled. She did not come out. The Magic Dragon General is very cruel. Lai Bing is a cultivator he subdued, and Xie Bing is his disciple. However, the 2 of them do not dare to go against him, Datura said. Of course, he has killed his own disciples before. Therefore, even Xie Bing and Lai Bing, who are half-step Emperor-level cultivators, have to obey him, Knight Sorrow said. The number of legions is about the same as ours. However, their actual combat power is not as good as ours. Their individual combat power is not bad, but their teamwork is average. The last battle proved this, Datura said. The key is how strong the Dragon Princess and the Magic Dragon General are. If the 2 of them cannot be restrained, then we have no chance of winning, Knight Sorrow said. War was not about one person. However, if they could not kill the strongest person of the other side, then it would be a big problem. Everyone in the Chaos world would have to bear the risk of being killed. What you said makes sense. Then let's go to the water world to play, Datura said to Knight Sorrow. What do you mean? Knight Sorrow did not understand. Lai Bing and Xie Bing know us, but the Dragon Princess does not. Let's go to the water world to check out the situation. Let's get in touch with the Dragon Princess first. If she does not see through us, Then we will mix around and find out the true strength of the magic dragon general from her. If she sees through us, then we will kill her first, Datura said. At this moment, in the water world of the Devil Blood realm, a woman in blue was sitting on a large chair in a luxurious palace. She was listening to the report of her subordinates. The woman's body was straight. Sitting there, she was like a sharp sword with a sharp aura. After listening to the report, the woman opened her closed eyes. 2 rays of light circled in her eyes. You said that Lai Bing's doppelganger was destroyed, and Lai Bing's original body was killed? Yes, Prince. This is the case. We have suffered a great defeat in this realm war. The man who reported the news bowed and said. Chapter 1497. And it's like this. The opponent's strongest expert is a cultivator who has only cultivated for a short period of time. When he killed Lai Bing, he was at the Monarch realm. When he killed Xie Bing, he was at the Heaven Monarch realm. As for the details, this subordinate is not very clear. *T, said the man who bowed to report. He was the city lord of Blackwater City in Blackwater Domain and also the general manager of Blackwater Domain, who, go and call Tian Lan over for your majesty. Isn't he the commander of the Devil Blood Legion? He should be clear about the situation. The lady in the blue dress said, yes. Hu retreated and went to arrange the orders of the lady in blue. The lady in blue was very famous in the Devil Blood Domain. She was the daughter of the Magic Dragon General and was at the peak of the Heaven Monarch realm. In fact, she was the strongest person in the Devil Blood Domain after the Magic Dragon General. Hu left the Blackwater Domain and took the teleportation array to the Demon Blood world. The Devil Blood Domain had 3 major world groups: the Demon Blood world, the Blackwater world, and the Blood Cloud world. Xie Bing was in charge of the Blood Cloud world group, the Blackwater world group was the Black Dragon Lady's territory, and the Demon Blood world had Lai Bing as the Domain Lord. The Domain Lord was just a title and the highest authority of a world. It was different from Night Sorrow, who was the Lord of Origin. The highest authority of this domain was the Devil Blood General. Hu arrived at the Demon Blood world and teleported to the Demon Sealing City where the Void Passage was located. He then went to the Legion camp where the Void Passage was located. Lai Bing and Xie Bing were recuperating in seclusion. It was the Devil Blood Legion's deputy commander, Shattered Moon, who received Hu. Commander Hu, you are here. Shattered Moon took out a jar of wine and poured a bowl for Hu. The 2 of them had the same status. Shattered Moon's status in the Blood Cloud world was the same as Hu's in the Blackwater world. It's like this. The princess has come out of seclusion and learned of the defeat of the realm war. She sent me to find General Tian Lan and ask him to report the situation to the princess at the Blackwater Palace. Hu explained the purpose of his visit. Tian Lan still has a mission. If you can't do it, I'll go with your commander Hu to report the situation to the princess, said Broken Moon. Hearing Hu mention Tian Lan, Shattered Moon's face changed. Originally, Tian Lan shouldn't have been involved in refining the Berserker. After the heavenly evil weapon made the decision, Tian Lan said a few more words and angered the heavenly evil weapon. Tian Lan was added to the refining of the Berserker. If Tian Lan resisted, he would be killed, so he could only accept his fate. However, Evil Soldier regretted it soon after. Tian Lan was from the Blackwater Domain and had been a guard for the Blackwater Domain Lord. Later, he entered the army and was first a monarch in the Heaven Emanations army. Later, Evil Soldier was lacking in manpower. When the army was mobilized, Tian Lan went to the Demon Blood army. After turning Tian Lan into a berserker, Evil Soldier couldn't explain it to the Blackwater Domain Lord, which was the Black Dragon Lady. Evil Soldier planned to go to the Blackwater Domain personally to explain it to the Black Dragon Lady. As Evil Soldier's confidant, Broken Moon knew about this. Therefore, she had to take the blame for Evil Soldier. Mission? Hasn't the realm war already ended? If there's any mission, wait until he reports the situation to the princess. Where is he? Who didn't respond to Shattered Moon's words at all. He must complete the task that the Black Dragon Lady had entrusted to him. Sai, I'll tell you the truth. You should think about how to deal with it. If it's not handled well, there might be a storm. Broken Moon couldn't hide the truth. Hearing Broken Moon's words, Hohu stood up. His face was full of anger. He and Tianlan were friends. After being fused with the Berserker Demon Stone, his body wasn't made of flesh and blood. It was a puppet with intelligence. It was very cruel. You just wait for the princess's anger. In the demon blood world, no one dares to treat the princess's people like this. Bring him here. Ho didn't hold back and roared at Broken Moon. Broken Moon sighed. The situation was already very troublesome. If she stopped Huhu now, the Black Dragon Lady might kill her way over when he returned. Tianlan, who was wearing a blood-red armor, saw Hu. His body trembled, but he couldn't make any expression because the muscles on his face were out of control. Huhu waved his hand and swept the wine bowl in front of him to one side. Tianlan, the princess wants to see you. Come back with me first. Tianlan looked at Broken Moon. In the absence of Evil Soldier and Lie Soldier, Broken Moon was the person in charge here. Go. The commander was a little impulsive this time, but it was also to stabilize the situation. Explain to the princess. If the princess is really angry, things will be very troublesome, Broken Moon said. Broken Moon said. He could only ask Tianlan to say a few words for Evil Soldier. He couldn't do anything else. Explain? Your blood cloud world is really something. Let's go. Hohu took Tianlan and left. Night Sorrow and Datura took the transmission array to Blackwater World. The two people they wanted to investigate were the Magic Dragon General and the Black Dragon Lady. Everything else didn't matter. With the secretive true body, Night Sorrow and Datura's aura wasn't very strong, and they wouldn't be discovered by people with bad intentions. After arriving at Blackwater City, the two found an inn to stay in. Night Sorrow and Datura had already thought about their identity. Their current identity was a secluded cultivator from Blackwater World Group's high-level world, the Heavenly Wind World. Now that they had some achievements in their cultivation, they came out for a walk. This wasn't a random fabrication. Night Sorrow and Datura went to the Heavenly Wind World to make some false appearances. They even prepared a cultivation cave. At present, Night Sorrow had almost collected the map of Devil Blood World. He had the world map of the world in his hands, so there was no problem with the fabricated identity. Devil Blood World's cultivators had a violent character. They didn't drink tea and only drank wine. Night Sorrow and Datura also did as the Romans did and drank tea. Aluo, we are already being watched. Someone will probably find us later. We will follow the agreed plan and say that we are here to seek refuge from the Realm Lord, Night Sorrow said. Okay, don't worry. If we are discovered, we will directly fight with that dragon language and see how strong this Demon Blood World's #1 Lord of Heaven is. It would be best if we can kill him, Datura said. Yes, and also to see the Black Dragon General. If we can contend against him, we will fight to the death with him. After that, we will sneak attack the fierce soldiers and evil soldiers. Then we can start an all-out war with the army. Night Sorrow nodded. At this moment in the Blackwater Palace, a woman was standing in front of the throne and bowing to the Black Dragon Princess, Long Yu, who was meditating with her eyes closed. Princess, our Blackwater City has produced 2 experts. They are both Heaven Monarchs, which has never appeared before. 2 Lords of Heaven that have never been seen before? Go and make contact with them and see where they are from. Dragon Language, who was dressed in blue, opened his eyes. Yes, this subordinate understands. The woman left. She was Dragon Language's right-hand subordinate and the commander of the Blackwater City's Imperial Guards. At this time, Ho brought Tianlan into the Blackwater Palace. Only one F is authentic, the other F are pirated copies. Berserker, Tianlan, are you crazy? Dragon Language stood up from his seat. The second chapter has arrived. Thank you to Little Gao Fu and Boss P for unblocking yesterday's chapter. Also, the last week of the Battle of the Kings is also a crucial time. It will end soon. Shizi asks for help. Thank you. Tomorrow I will give back to everyone and explode. Chapter 1498. Clang. Tianlan, dressed in blood-red armor, knelt on the ground. Princess, no one would take the initiative to fuse with the blood demon stone. As a heaven monarch, how could Tianlan not know the consequences? Speak. Dragon language frowned and sat on the chair. Tianlan closed his eyes and smashed the ground. Princess, please save Tianlan. Tell me the situation. What is it? Dragon language's voice was cold. Tianlan told her the reason why he became a blood demon warrior. Evil soldiers did become a blood demon warrior in order to stabilize the situation, but they should not have touched dragon language's people. If they want to resolve the side effects of the blood demon stone, they need the heart-cleansing ice stone. Your Majesty will help you think of a solution. As for the evil soldiers targeting you, they are not giving your Majesty any face. However, the situation is more important now. It is not suitable to reason with them now. Remember this. Dragon language thought for a while and said, she was not an irrational person. Evil soldiers forcing Tianlan to fuse with the blood demon stone was not giving her face, but it was also for the sake of the overall situation. If she went to find trouble with evil soldiers now, it would not benefit the overall situation. Princess, I don't want you to be unhappy with the commander of the evil soldiers. I just want you to regain your freedom. Tianlan said. Fusing with the blood demon stone could increase one's combat power, but the body was no longer flesh and blood. There was no development to speak of. One could say that one had become a monster that only knew how to fight. Thus, no one was willing to do so. Get up. Tell me the details of this realm war. Dragon language said. Princess, the enemy's army's ability to work together is very strong. They are slightly stronger than our army. The main reason for their failure is that they have a freak. Combat power cannot be measured by cultivation. When he was a monarch, he killed Commander Lai Bing's clone. Although it was unexpected, it also showed his strength. In addition, he broke through to the Heaven Monarch realm in a short time. When he went to battle again, his combat power changed again. The commander of the evil soldiers was crushed in a head-on battle. Forgive me for being blunt, but if he did not run fast enough, he and his clone would have been killed. Tianlan said. In a head-on battle, he was able to kill Lai Bing's clone as a monarch. Now, he is able to crush evil soldier after becoming a heaven monarch. This means that he is truly powerful. He muttered in dragon language. Yes, his attribute is the supreme attribute. Lord Khufu said that this guy is also a merit saint, Tianlan said. Interesting. According to what you said, even your Majesty has a 50-50 chance of winning against him. However, your Majesty has recently gained some insights. Once your Majesty understands it, let's see if he can withstand it. Dragon language's aura burst forth, and her blue skirt fluttered. Tianlan and Huhu both bowed. They knew that dragon language's strength and prestige were not comparable to fierce soldiers and evil soldiers. Tianlan, we have to look at the big picture. You go back first and do whatever you need to do. Take your Majesty's token. If anyone makes things difficult for you again, you can take it out. The first time your Majesty gave face, the second time your Majesty will not be polite. Dragon language narrowed her eyes and said, I understand. Thank you, Prince. Tianlan knew that his problem was solved. As long as dragon language took care of it, it was only a matter of time before the side effects of the blood demon stone were resolved. In addition, with dragon language's token, even evil soldiers could not make things difficult for him. After Tianlan left, dragon language tapped her fingers on the armrest of the chair and pondered. Dragon language said to Hu, we just suffered a setback and are not suitable to fight again. We are in a hurry, so we are not in a hurry to fight. Inform the dragon army to prepare for battle. In addition, go and take a look at the 2 heaven monarchs who appeared in Water City today. Investigate and find out where they came from. If there is no problem, bring them to the Water Palace. At this moment, in the Alliance camp outside the Void Passage of the Demon Blood World, Broken Moon and Evil Soldier reported about Huhu's arrival. This time I was indeed a little thoughtless. A heaven monarch is nothing, but it is not worth it to have a conflict and estrangement with the Dragon Lady. Evil Soldier's voice was a little low. The death of his original body was a huge blow to him because his future was ruined. A few days ago, Evil Soldier was still very worried and afraid that Night Sorrow would deal with him like Lai Bing. However, it was very quiet now, so he was not so worried. Night Sorrow was busy and did not deal with this matter. It was mainly because Evil Soldier, who was left with only one clone, was not a threat to him. At this moment, Tianlan returned. He originally went to the camp to greet Broken Moon, but he was a little surprised to see Evil Soldier. "Greetings, Commander." Tianlan bowed and said, "You're back. Have a seat." Evil Soldier waved his hand at Tianlan. "Thank you, Commander." Tianlan sat down and said, "I was a little thoughtless about what happened a while ago. It was mainly because I was killed and the situation was unstable, so I was a little impatient. After this incident, my achievements will stop here. I will be with you in the next battle. After solving the problem of the war, I will help you think of a way." Evil Soldier said. At this moment, he was a little depressed. "Thank you, Commander." Tianlan stood up and nodded. "I am not afraid of anyone. It is already like this." "Why would I be afraid of anyone? It is just that the war has reached this stage. I am not reconciled, so I don't want to have a conflict with the princess." Evil Soldier finished speaking and left the camp. Tianlan nodded at Broken Moon and returned to the Void Passage, where he, Tianzhu, and Tianzheng were guarding. Night Sorrow and Datura stayed in Water City for 2 days. Hohu came to visit them. Because he did not know much about them, Hohu respected Night Sorrow and Datura very much. A heaven monarch must be respected. During the conversation, Hu indirectly asked about Night Sorrow and Datura's origins. Night Sorrow and Datura were prepared. They directly said that they were from the Heavenly Wind Realm. They had been cultivating in the Heavenly Wind Realm for many years. This time, they had made some achievements and came out to take a look. Very good. The Water Realm is a macro world and the core of this group of worlds. It is better to develop here. There are more opportunities and opportunities. Hu said. Translator, Endless Fantasy Translation Editor. Endless Fantasy Translation. After talking for a while, Ho left after agreeing to talk another day. After returning to the Water City Lord residence, Hu sent people to the Heavenly Wind Realm. He wanted to know if Night Sorrow and Datura's origins were real. "Aluo, we made up our origins. If they have a fortune teller, we will be exposed with a divination." Night Sorrow said with a smile. "The price of divination is too high. Only untraceable things need to be divined. We told them where we came from. They have places to investigate. When we went to the Heavenly Wind Realm, our preparations were not in vain. Besides, even if they did divination, there would be signs and figures of us in the Heavenly Wind Realm." Datura said. Night Sorrow nodded. If it was the same as what Datura said, then there was no problem. Chapter 1499. Night Sorrow nodded. "Aluo, let's go out for a walk." Datura looked at Night Sorrow and smiled. "If you want to go, I'll accompany you for a walk." In fact, Night Sorrow didn't want to go for a walk. He brought Datura out of the city and flew for hundreds of thousands of miles. He set up a low-level teleportation array in a secret place and then took out 2 teleportation array disks. Then, he gave Mandela a copy of the trap and teleportation array disks. "You think too much," Datura said with a smile. "It's better to be prepared. It's easy to interfere with a single teleportation array disk. There won't be any drawbacks if you use it with a trap array disk," Night Sorrow said. "I understand. I feel safe when I'm with you." "You've thought of everything I should and shouldn't think of," Datura said with a smile. "We're confident in ourselves, but once we're exposed, we'll be besieged." Night Sorrow said. The truth was just as he said. They were confident, but once they were exposed, the consequences would be severe. There were many heavenly monarchs in the water domain. Night Sorrow didn't want to use this secret method, but in his words, it was better to be prepared. Then, Night Sorrow and Datura returned to the inn. As there were no outsiders, Night Sorrow brewed a pot of tea. "Although it's a war, it still feels good to come out with you," Datura said with a smile. QX Section 1 of the new chapter, B. Relax. We're here to look for trouble. There's pressure. They should be the unlucky ones, Night Sorrow said with a smile. That's right. Night Sorrow, let's try to have another child. Datura blushed. Although I know that there is no difference between your true body and your clone, it is better to be safe than sorry. Don't mess around. Night Sorrow said with a smile, although he was touched and had a desire in his heart. No one knows me better than I do. I wouldn't joke about our happiness. However, it's not really possible for a clone to conceive a child. Come here. Datura turned around and sat on the bed. Night Sorrow waved his hand and activated an illusion array. Aluo, it's better for you to change back to your original appearance. I haven't seen you for a few days and my mind is filled with your original appearance. Datura nodded. His body trembled and returned to its original state. The two of them had not been together for a long time, so they tossed around to their heart's content. For the next 2 days, Night Sorrow and Datura stayed in the inn. When they had time, they would go out for a walk. Huhu sent people to the Heavenly Wind domain. When they arrived at the place that Night Sorrow had unintentionally leaked to Huhu, they carefully investigated and then returned to report to Hu. The situation matched. Huhu reported to Dragon Language. 2 heavenly monarchs. Not bad. If we can keep them in the water domain, it can also increase the strength of the water domain. Bring them to the VIP building. Your Majesty should go and see Lai Bing and Xie Bing. They were in charge of this domain war and suffered heavy injuries. Your Majesty should go and see them. Dragon Language nodded after hearing Huhu's report and then left the water palace. In the inn, Night Sorrow, who was drinking tea and talking with Datura, raised his head and looked into the distance. Then he waved his arm and put away the tea set, replacing it with a wine pot and wine bowl. He noticed that Huhu had come. The people of the Devil Blood domain did not drink tea. The fact that Night Sorrow and Datura drank tea was a flaw. Who came? Night Sorrow invited Huhu to sit down and poured a bowl of wine for Hu. There were many things to do these 2 days and I neglected the two of you. The princess already knows about your arrival. However, the princess still has some urgent matters to attend to. Now, I will arrange for the two of you to rest in the VIP building. Huhu said very politely. If Night Sorrow and Dragon Language got along well, then they would work together in the future. Therefore, Hu felt that there was no harm in being friendly. Thank you for the arrangement. Night Sorrow raised his wine bowl to Hu. Then, under the guidance of Huhu, the 3 of them went to the most magnificent VIP building in the Water City. After settling down Night Sorrow and Datura and sending people to deliver wine, Hu left. After leaving the VIP building, Hu turned around and looked at the VIP building. His eyes were filled with astonishment because he felt the pressure. Hu was very clear about his cultivation level. He was outstanding even among the Heaven Monarchs. Otherwise, he would not have become the Water City Lord. His position in the water domain was second only to the Dragon Lady and Dragon Language. Although Night Sorrow and Datura had restrained their auras, some cultivators had strong instincts. Hu was certain that Night Sorrow and Datura could bring him danger. It seems that they have finished their investigation. The things we arranged worked. They should trust us. Night Sorrow said as he watched Hu leave. Datura nodded. If the other party did not trust them, they would either attack or expel them. If there was no response for 3 days, it must be an investigation. Now that Hu had invited them to the VIP building in the Water City, it was obviously a show of goodwill after the investigation. We mainly want to see if we can understand the specific strength of the Magic Dragon General through the Dragon Princess Dragon Language. Once we know, we can start the battle. Datura said. Actually, you don't have to worry. The Magic Dragon General is in the Emperor realm. However, according to the Shenhuang world origin, his aura is not very strong. It is stronger than Lai Bing's. In other words, as long as we are not surrounded, we are not in great danger. We are here to learn more about the other domains. Night Sorrow said. Since you said so, I am more confident. However, It is hard to say what kind of power an Emperor Realm cultivator has. Datura still reminded Night Sorrow, mainly because he was afraid that Night Sorrow would be careless. Normally, it is easy to fight someone of a higher level, but difficult to fight someone of a higher level. Within the same level, the difference is in cultivation and energy. Different ranks are different in realm and quality. Compared to King, Saint King, and Saint King, what they lack is the comprehension of the will of heaven and earth. King has the power of the will of heaven and earth, but he cannot resist the suppression of the will of heaven and earth. The difference between King, Monarch, Lord of Heaven, and Emperor Realm cultivators is the control of the will of heaven and earth. Night Sorrow explained the difference between the ranks. That's right. If you cannot resist the suppression of the special power of the next rank, you cannot fight. You have the will of battle on your body. Immature will of heaven and earth is useless against you, so you can kill Evil Bing and Lai Bing's doppelganger. Datura said. Aluo, do you know that in our Chaos Realm, you have the highest potential to become an emperor? Night Sorrow said. My potential to become an emperor is the highest. Datura looked at Night Sorrow with some surprise. Yes, your potential to become an emperor is the highest, but it is not enough. Of course, this is the situation before. Now, the black-yellow Great World's origin is saying that it can't see clearly. I think it must be the effect of the Mandala Lily being killed. This effect should be your capital to reach the Emperor's throne. Night Sorrow nodded. Chapter 1500. And L equals J underscore and L equals and unsealed. I didn't say that I didn't have the aptitude to become an emperor. Of course, I can do it. Night Sorrow smiled. Night Sorrow then said that what the Chaos Realm lacked now was to break the shackles. If they couldn't do that, it would be useless no matter how high their aptitude was. Didn't the origin of the Xianhuang world say that we have a passage to the Celestial Realm? Then there won't be a problem. Datura was more excited. Yes, we know that there should be more than one passage. Yuan Dao Heaven has one too. However, we need to solve the problem of the realm war first, Night Sorrow said. Datura nodded. She knew that the realm war was very important and would affect the 9 regions world. The 9 regions world had already moved to the core of the Chaos Realm. The outbreak of the realm war might not hurt the 9 regions world, but it would affect the situation. Dragon language arrived at the demon blood world and was near the wormhole. Sensing the arrival of dragon language, Xie Bing and Lai Bing came out of seclusion and welcomed her into the command tent. After cultivating in the time acceleration treasure for a few years, Lai Bing's doppelganger had recovered and his soul had returned to its original position. However, Xie Bing was still in a bad state. Princess, I'm very sorry about the Tianlan incident. The situation that day was a little special, Xie Bing said. Your Majesty is very unhappy about this matter. However, we need to consider the big picture now. Dragon language sat down and glanced at Xie Bing. Xie Bing nodded. He knew that dragon language wouldn't make things difficult for him. You are half-step emperors while the strongest cultivator on the other side is a heavenly lord. Why did you lose so badly? Dragon language asked. The other side has an anomaly. Our realm force of heaven and earth suppression is ineffective against him. Therefore, half-step emperors have no advantage against him. Lai Bing shook his head helplessly. When he was at the monarch realm, he already had fighting spirit. The suppression of the force of heaven and earth before he reached the half-imperial realm is useless against him. He has the body of merit. The most terrifying thing is that he has the legendary sovereign attribute, Xie Bing added. Sovereign attribute. Destruction or nihility. Dragon language's eyes lit up, as if he had seen his prey. Nothingness. It's the void attribute, and it also has the will of time and space. To be honest, even if we understand it, we won't be a match for it. Lai Bing sighed. The sense of defeat this time was too strong, and it was a huge blow to him. Very good. Your Majesty wants to clash with him and see how powerful the void attribute is. Is it as domineering as the destruction attribute? Dragon language's aura rippled. As long as we take him down, We can win the realm war, Lai Bing said. Wait. Now that the army has just been defeated, immediately starting a war is not good for our morale. Let's get through this buffer period first. Dragon Language expressed his thoughts. She then took a look at Xie Bing, threw him a bottle of pills, and left. She couldn't comfort Xie Bing because mentioning it was like rubbing salt on his wound. P update L new, the fastest 6 fast F, cool, 1 craftsman $H network. Even if a cultivator's achievements were not high, there was still hope as long as they worked hard. No one could be certain about their future achievements. However, his true body was destroyed, and his achievements were fixed. He wouldn't be able to make any more progress. Senior brother, what do you think are the chances of Princess winning against Night Sorrow? Xie Bing looked at Lai Bing and asked. Much higher than us. Princess and he are the same kind of people. Generally speaking, a realm will only give birth to one supreme cultivator. We are not, so our foundation is not enough. Junior brother, you don't have to be too depressed. If you can increase your realm, I will collect secret techniques for you to increase your combat strength, Lai Bing said. Xie Bing nodded. In his current situation, he could only focus on increasing his combat strength. Night Sorrow and Datura stayed in the VIP tower in Blackwater City. Sometimes, they would go out for a walk, so they had some understanding of Blackwater City and Blackwater World. The Blackwater World group, or rather, the entire Devil Blood world, had maximized the concept of the strong being respected. There was no concept of coexistence. In the Blackwater World group, Black Dragon Lady's dragon language was the absolute authority. There were many forces in the Blackwater World group, but all the heavenly monarchs worked in Blackwater City and had to listen to the dragon language. Those who disobeyed would die. There are no less than 10 heavenly monarchs in Blackwater City. The forces in Blackwater World should be stronger than the Demon Blood World and the Blood Cloud World, Datura said. Black Dragon Lady's dragon language has a high status in the Devil Blood World. First, she is powerful and has strong leadership. Secondly, she is the daughter of the Magic Dragon General. For us, the difficulty of the realm war lies in whether we can deal with the Magic Dragon General and Black Dragon Lady. As for the army war, as long as the tactics and strategies are reasonable, it will not be difficult, Night Sorrow said. I'm guessing that she will look for us soon. I'm guessing that she wants to take us under her wing. We've seen how she does things, said Mandela as she looked at Yishang. She wanted to know how Yishang would deal with this matter. We will not do things that are humiliating. Although it is for the war and for the chaos realm, to submit to others will damage our luck. We do not need to do that, Night Sorrow said. He had never thought of being a spy under Black Dragon Lady. He came here to see Black Dragon Lady's strength. Night Sorrow and Datura appeared as heavenly monarchs of the heavenly wind realm. They had the qualifications to talk to Black Dragon Lady directly. This was much better than secretly investigating. Because if they were discovered, it would be a direct war. It was not in line with the current situation to start a war in advance without investigating clearly. Okay, if we can't come to an agreement, we will leave. If she does not let us leave, then we will fight. If not, we will run. There is nothing to worry about. After hearing Night Sorrow's words, Datura smiled because Night Sorrow's decision resolved her worries. This time, everything was focused on Night Sorrow. However, there were some things that Datura was not willing to do. For example, being a spy and working under Black Dragon Lady was unacceptable to her. Aluo, you are my wife. In my heart, you are the most noble. How can I let you, including me, do something that is humiliating? No one in the world has the right to do that, Night Sorrow said. Yes, without pride, how can we stand in the world? We are not inferior to anyone, so we do not have to look at anyone's face. The Heavenly Tao will not care for people with inferior souls. This is not wrong. Datura nodded. She and Night Sorrow had the same philosophy on this point. I understand what you said. I will not do anything that will make my heart and soul uneasy. I also believe that as long as we work hard, no one can suppress us. Night Sorrow held Datura's hand and said, Some words are suitable for you, but what about me? I have been working hard, but I am still suppressed by you. Datura looked at Night Sorrow and said slowly, "What nonsense are you talking about? What are you thinking about? I really have to hand it to you." Yi Shan was speechless. After dragon language returned from the demon blood world, he summoned Hu and asked about Night Sorrow and Datura's situation again. There is no problem. Those two are very strong. Search for Cool Craftsman on WeChat, follow the name of the new work, read the full text. L equals, and, said. Chapter 1501. You mean they are very strong? Dragon language frowned. Yes, they look very ordinary, but this subordinate feels a sense of danger. This subordinate has only felt this kind of feeling from a few people before. Hu said with certainty, "Tell me about it." Dragon language nodded at Hu. In the Blackwater domain, Hu was the strongest heaven monarch other than herself. Dragon language admitted this. If Hu felt a sense of danger, it was not simple. "I have this feeling from the princess, the chief, and the two commanders, Xie Bing and Lai Bing. It is my intuition," Hu said after thinking for a while. Interesting, it seems like there is going to be a battle." Dragon language laughed. "What do you mean, princess?" Hu was a little confused. "Do you think it is reasonable for two strong heaven monarchs to suddenly appear? If they are ordinary heaven monarchs, it makes sense. Your intuition shows that they are on the same level as your majesty, Xie Bing, and Lai Bing. How can such strength be unknown? Who are you trying to fool?" Dragon language snorted. "Princess, do you mean that the troops from the primal chaos domain have arrived?" After listening to dragon language's explanation, Hu understood what dragon language was trying to say. If your intuition is accurate, then it is correct. Xie Bing is a piece of trash. He brought people to watch the void passageway. How can he not know that someone has snuck in? Dragon language scolded. "Princess, my intuition is a gift. It is not wrong." Hu nodded. "That will do. Gather the troops and besiege the VIP tower. Your majesty will kill them. Your mission is to not let them escape." Dragon language gave the order. Hu went to make the arrangements. Dragon language wiped the battle sword in his hand. Then he flashed out of the Blackwater Palace and flew towards the VIP tower. At this time, the heaven monarchs in the Blackwater City had already gathered there. In the VIP building of Blackwater City, Night Sorrow, who was drinking tea, raised his head and said, "Allo, prepare for battle. I don't know what went wrong, but I was discovered. A great battle is unavoidable. Remember, don't resist my spiritual energy. When it's about time, I'll take you into the clear sky divine pagoda, and we'll leave immediately." This is really strange. This shouldn't be happening. Datura muttered, but she wasn't worried. If Night Sorrow wanted to leave, it would be difficult for the other party to stop him. Night Sorrow and Datura returned to their original appearances and walked out of the VIP room. At this moment, there were heaven monarchs and their men waiting around the VIP building. Night Sorrow did not move. He was here to witness the strength of the Black Dragoness dragon language. If he left now, it would be meaningless. Hu stood at the main entrance of the VIP building with two heaven monarchs. Good eyesight. Night Sorrow, only wanted to secretly investigate, but I didn't escape Brother Night Sorrow's eyes. Night Sorrow would like to thank Brother Hu for the wine. Night Sorrow cupped his hands towards Hu. No matter what, Hu was very courteous both times he visited, so Night Sorrow had to give a response. It's not that this city lord has good eyesight. It's that this city lord has a strong sense of danger. Hu said, "Good style." At this moment, Dragon Language, who was wearing a blue battle suit, appeared. "I'm not bad. Night Sorrow greets Princess." Night Sorrow smiled and cupped his hands towards Dragon Language, who was floating in the air. Dragon Language landed in front of the VIP building and asked Night Sorrow and Datura, "Why don't you run?" "Why run? I came this time to see Black Dragoness Dragon Language's style. If I leave without seeing it, wouldn't I lose the meaning of coming?" Night Sorrow said. He had no intention of leaving. It's rare to see such style. Let's not talk about anything else. Your Majesty should prepare the wine first. Dragon language instructed the people beside him. No need. I, Night Sorrow, will treat Princess to tea. Night Sorrow waved his arm and a tea table appeared. Night Sorrow brewed a pot of tea and then waved his arm. 2 cups of tea flew out. One went towards Dragon language and the other went to Hu. Then, he handed a cup to Mandela and picked up a cup for himself, slowly taking a sip. Actually, Night Monarch can visit directly. There's no need to go through so much trouble. Hu, Your Majesty also needs to drink tea in the future. Dragon language took a sip of tea and said, It's not appropriate to visit directly now. After all, it's warded. Night Sorrow said with a smile. You killed Evil Soldier's original body and Lai Bing's doppelganger? Dragon language looked at Night Sorrow and asked. He was the only one who did it? Stolen edition. I heard that Princess Dragon language is the #1 heaven monarch in the Devil Blood domain. Her battle strength is second only to the Chief Magic Dragon General. Night Sorrow came to take a look. Night Sorrow nodded. I won't disappoint you. Originally, everyone who comes is a guest, but during wartime, there's no other way. Dragon language Princess said. Yes, during wartime, we can talk about wartime matters. Since we've talked and drunk the tea, let's fight. Night Sorrow waved his hand and put away the tea set and tea table. Your Majesty has drunk your tea, but you haven't drunk Your Majesty's wine. Dragon language waved his arm and 2 jars of wine flew in front of Night Sorrow and Datura Datura. Night Sorrow and Datura Datura didn't stand on ceremony and drank it directly. Since the other party was gracious, they didn't mind. You guys are very gracious and bold. You didn't mention any war or denounce us. Your Majesty didn't want to explain the war either. In fact, at our level, everyone knows that there's no reason in this world. It's all about whose fist is bigger. After the war, if we're all alive, Your Majesty will treat us to wine here. Dragon language said. Sure, come on. It's best not to let them attack. It's useless. Night Sorrow looked at the heaven monarchs surrounding him and said, How should I put it? Your Majesty doesn't expect them to do anything to Night Sorrow Monarch. As long as Night Sorrow Monarch doesn't leave before defeating Your Majesty, they won't attack. Dragon language thought for a moment and said, Good. Night Sorrow laughed. Dragon language meant that they didn't want him to run. As long as Night Sorrow ran, they would attack him. Let me introduce myself formally. I'm the Blackwater Domain Lord, Dragon language. After Dragon language finished his self-introduction, he opened his arm and a black battle blade appeared in his hand. I'm Night Sorrow. Night Sorrow only said his name. At the same time, he reached out with his right hand and took Samsara in his hand. His eyes looked straight at Dragon language. Night Sorrow knew that the next battle would be between him and the core experts of Devil Blood domain. If he could win, then the domain war would be much easier. If only one Magic Dragon General was stronger than him, then his original body and doppelganger would be a deterrent to the other members of the opponent. At this time, Dragon language's aura exploded. A set of black battle armor appeared outside his blue robe. The energy aura rippled in all directions. Huhu and the others also retreated. Seeing the energy erupting from Dragon language, Night Sorrow was stunned. Destruction? It was destruction energy. It was much stronger than Sandalwood's destruction energy. Night Sorrow understood why Dragon language was ranked higher than Fierce Soldier and Evil Soldier even though he wasn't a half-step emperor. It was because his attributes were strong. The willpower in his attributes could resist some of the suppression of the world. Majestic battle intent burst forth. After using the virtuous immortal body to protect himself, Night Sorrow stretched out his right hand and pointed Samsara at Dragon language. The second chapter has arrived. Thank you Brother Zhang, Yizi, and Shui Jing for unlocking yesterday's chapter. Today's outburst is to thank everyone for their support. Minimum chapter, target 10 chapters. Well, I'm going to sleep now, ha. After an all-nighter, I'm awake to edit the 3 p.m. update. Chapter 1504. They haven't left yet. They're acting like bosses, even ordering their servants to prepare good wine, Hu said. That Night Sorrow is very strong. Your Majesty is no match for him. That's something you have to admit. Xie Bing and Lai Bing are even worse. They were lucky to be able to come back alive from the realm of chaos, Dragon Language said. Then what do we do? Are we really going to withdraw from the realm war? What else can we do? Your Majesty can't possibly go back on her words. Your Majesty has already fallen. Dragon Language glared at Hu. I understand, but they're going to start a realm war. They'll fight to the death with the head of the realm. The princess will be in a difficult position, Hu said. What he said was also what Night Sorrow and Datura were worried about. Do you know why your Majesty left the demon blood world after breaking through to become a king? It's because your Majesty's bloodline awakened when she became a king. After her bloodline awakened, she learned some things. If you weren't involved, you would never understand. Take your Majesty's memory crystal ball and send it to the Magic Dragon Palace. Dragon Language took out a crystal ball and recorded some words in front of Hu. She said that if the demon blood world was destroyed or if something else happened, the Magic Dragon Palace should come to the water world. Hu held the crystal ball and looked at Dragon Language, still confused. Why do you have so many ideas? The head of the realm is an Emperor Realm Cultivator. It's fine if he can be killed, but if he can't win, he can at least retreat. Just do as your Majesty says, Dragon Language said. After Hu left, Dragon Language closed her eyes and began to ponder. There were many things that she had been hiding in her heart all this time. The most important thing was the secret that she had learned after awakening her bloodline. Dragons were orthodox dragons. Other dragons might have the bloodline of dragons, but not the evil dragon. The evil dragon was an anomaly among dragons. Their bloodline had already mutated, so the offspring of the evil dragon could only be an evil dragon. The Dragon Language didn't know where she really came from, but she definitely didn't have the bloodline of the Magic Dragon General. So after entering the king's realm, she left the demon blood world. Long Yu left the devil blood great world and went to the water great world to cultivate in seclusion. After rising up, she became the strongest expert in the water great world and ruled over a world. However, this was not her goal. Her goal was to become an Emperor Realm Cultivator. Only then could she investigate some things. While Night Sorrow and Datura were drinking tea, Dragon Language arrived in a loose blue robe. Look at Chapter S5, Section E. I heard from my subordinates that you are like a big boss and very hard to serve. Dragon Language sat across from Night Sorrow and Datura. The wine is not nice, and you don't let people talk about it? Datura said with some dissatisfaction. Hee, it seems like the princess is in a good state. Night Sorrow said with a smile. What else can I do? Do you think I can't live if I cry every day after losing once? Dragon Language took the teapot in front of Night Sorrow and poured a cup of tea for herself. Night Sorrow didn't say anything. He knew that Dragon Language came today because she had something to say. Dragon Language looked at Night Sorrow, but Night Sorrow didn't say anything. Isn't it just winning once? What's so great about that? Didn't you say your Majesty can make decisions for the Chaos Realm? Dragon Language asked when Night Sorrow didn't say anything. Sort of. Night Sorrow thought for a moment and said, sort of. What do you mean sort of? Your Majesty has to listen carefully. Dragon Language frowned when he heard Night Sorrow's words. Because Night Sorrow said that there was no way to continue the conversation. The matters of the primal chaos realm should be discussed by everyone. No one can directly make the decisions. Of course, if others don't listen to my opinion, I can choose not to participate. At the very least, some people will stand on my side, Yishan said. Then if the water world doesn't participate in the realm war, can you guarantee that your people won't attack them? Dragon Language asked. There are some things that Night Sorrow can't say, but I can. In fact, Night Sorrow is the commander of the Chaos Realm. He just doesn't want this title. If he says they won't attack the water world, then most people won't come. If anyone doesn't give him face and comes to attack, then you kill them. Simple? Datura said. Simple and violent. Actually, according to your Majesty's information, other than you, your wife, senior apprentice brother, and a few other people in the Chaos Realm are strong. The others aren't that strong. Well, you're his wife. Dragon Language looked at Night Sorrow and then carefully sized up Datura Datura. That's right. I'm Datura Datura. Datura Datura nodded. You have a good personality and are close to your Majesty's. Since that's the case, then tell us what your Majesty thinks. The water world doesn't have to fight, but they may accept others. Because if they lose the realm war, the demon blood world will be destroyed, and one person may be transferred in, Dragon Language said. If you talk like that, then it's boring. This is the attitude of someone who can afford to lose. The water world will accept others, including those who have lost. Then this place will become their headquarters. They'll reorganize and then fight us. If they lose, they'll come back to reorganize and then fight again. Datura Datura was a little angry. Why are you so impatient? Your Majesty didn't finish speaking. Your Majesty will only accept everyone once. In other words, if they go to the water world to fight again, your Majesty won't accept them again. Accepting them once is your Majesty's responsibility as a member of the demon blood world. Once you've done your duty, your Majesty won't care about anything else, Dragon Language said. Including your father? Night Sorrow asked. Your Majesty will do what he should and won't care about anything else. Do you think I can afford to lose like this? Dragon Language said. Hey, it's decided, Night Sorrow said. After you leave this time, don't come back until the realm war is over, Dragon Language said. You're really not polite, Datura Datura snorted. It's nothing. The realm war won't last too long. If we want to walk around, we can come anytime, Night Sorrow said to Datura Datura. You're very confident. Dragon Language looked at Night Sorrow and frowned. Yes, Night Sorrow said. I don't know where your confidence comes from. Dragon Language took a sip of tea, his eyes never leaving Night Sorrow. It's from the princess. Night Sorrow smiled. Dragon Language wasn't the only one who didn't understand Night Sorrow's words. Datura Datura was also confused. Princess, if you think the demon blood world and the blood cloud world have the strength to win the war, you wouldn't have accepted them. You decided to accept people from the Water Great World because you felt that they couldn't win. Night Sorrow stated his conclusion. Night Sorrow, her father is an emperor cultivator. We still have to go and find out more, Datura Datura said in a low voice. If we're talking about who knows the magic dragon the best, it's of course Princess Dragon Language. Based on her temper, if the magic dragon general is powerful, she'll say that including her father is obviously not. She'll say that if you're not convinced, you can go and try, Night Sorrow said. Chapter 1505. Originally, there were some things that were unknown to the public, and only a limited number of people knew about them. Many years ago, the Magic Dragon General had once attacked the Primal Chaos Realm, but was stopped by the human Emperor. At that time, he was not yet an Emperor Realm cultivator, and as a result, he suffered a great loss and his origin was damaged. After retreating to the Devil Blood Realm, the Magic Dragon General entered the Emperor Realm while healing, but his origin was still not recovered. Currently, he was thinking about how to repair his origin. If he did not repair his origin, he would not be able to advance any further. Therefore, Dragon Language knew that it would be difficult for the Magic Dragon General to do anything to Night Sorrow even if he came out of seclusion. Dragon Language felt that the Magic Dragon General's actual combat strength was stronger than hers, but not by much. At most, he was on par with Night Sorrow, or at most a bit stronger. Because of this, there were some flaws in her words. This small, almost undetectable flaw was caught by Night Sorrow. Welcome. As long as you don't interfere or affect the trend of the realm war, you can go now. Night Sorrow said with a smile. Dragon Language was a person who could afford to lose. He believed in Dragon Language's character. Night Sorrow was also very happy. Dragon Language did not refute, which proved that his guess was right. Your Majesty needs to find a passage to the Celestial Realm. He often travels to various realms. Perhaps he can find something in your Primal Chaos Realm. Dragon language said. She really wanted to go to the primal chaos realm. Normally speaking, your devil blood realm should have a passage to the celestial realm, right? Night Sorrow said. There is, but your majesty has not had the chance to use it. I won't say much today. You should leave after resting. Don't come back until the realm war is over. Night Sorrow, your majesty does not want to talk to you anymore. Dragon language stood up and roared at Night Sorrow. She realized that she couldn't speak to Night Sorrow when she was an opponent. She regretted what she had just said because she had revealed something else. After Dragon language left, Night Sorrow took out a jar of wine and poured a glass for himself and Datura. Let's celebrate. We've been waiting for some good news. I have to say, your brain works really fast. You even notice some details that others didn't notice. It seems that the Magic Dragon General's situation isn't as difficult to deal with as we thought. Also, I discovered that the relationship between the Dragon language and the Magic Dragon General is somewhat subtle, Datura said. That should be the case. At present, I still have the Interrealm Teleportation Crystal. It is not difficult to use the King Grade Teleportation Crystal to connect the Demon Blood World to the Black-Yellow Great World. Then we can connect it to the Blood Cloud Great World. After that, we can start the war, Night Sorrow said after taking a sip of wine. He was the only one on the I-1 network. Everyone else /is X-Pirate. Well, I just came out with you for a walk. You can make all the decisions. Datura nodded. She really felt that she came out with Night Sorrow to have fun. Night Sorrow would handle everything properly. Then, Night Sorrow and Datura left the VIP building in the Water City. After changing their clothes slightly, they returned to the Demon Blood World. After leaving the Demon Blood City, Night Sorrow and Datura entered the vast wilderness. Then, they found an area suitable for hoarding troops and defense. Then, they set up a teleportation formation to connect it to the United Army camp of the Black-Yellow Great World. Then, they set up a defensive formation and an illusory formation. After setting up the stronghold, Night Sorrow and Datura were teleported back to the Black-Yellow Great World. However, Night Sorrow's doppelganger stayed behind. Someone had to watch the teleportation formation. Seeing Night Sorrow come back, the Lords of Heaven of the Chaotic Realm were very happy. When they arrived at the command tent, Night Sorrow told them about the investigation after entering the Demon Blood World and the agreement he made with Dragon language. Night Sorrow, you can make these decisions directly. You are now the Commander-in-Chief of the United Army, Lord of Heaven God who said. It's better for everyone to discuss. Night Sorrow smiled. Night Sorrow, you don't have to decline this. Everyone has their own considerations. Relying on us old guys won't solve any problems. Tang Jianfeng also expressed his attitude. Night Sorrow, tell us your opinion and decision. Qing Emperor said. He fully supported Night Sorrow, but he didn't say it. Because he was the master, he wanted to avoid arousing suspicion. I have already set up the stronghold over there. I have also set up a simple defensive formation. In order to prevent the enemy's diviners from destroying it in advance, our men must enter as soon as possible. As long as our men arrive, they won't be afraid of divining anything. At worst, it will be a hard battle, Night Sorrow said. Then let's start the teleportation. 2 people will stay here. The rest will go over and defend the stronghold first. The integration of the men can be carried out at the stronghold over there. We will strengthen the stronghold while preparing for war, Tang Jianfeng said. Okay, that's a good idea. Qing Emperor nodded. My doppelganger is already there. Everyone can make the arrangements. Now, I want to go home and see my wife and children, Night Sorrow said with a smile. You are really bold to say that you miss your other wives in front of Aluo, Lord of Heaven Precious Fragrance said with a smile. Night Sorrow is a member of the Gu family. The other sisters don't have it easy either. Datura smiled. He didn't mind this matter. When Night Sorrow's original body was at home, she would push Night Sorrow to others. After leaving the Allied Army's tent with Datura, Night Sorrow went to the Heaven and Earth Pavilion. He wanted to ask the origin of the Xuanhuan Great World if there was anything he needed to avoid or do before the realm war started. As soon as Night Sorrow arrived at the Heaven and Earth Pavilion, the origin of the Xuanhuan Great World appeared and welcomed Night Sorrow and Datura into the Heaven and Earth Pavilion with a smile. The origin of the Xuanhuan Great World brought Night Sorrow and Datura to a more comfortable space in the Heaven and Earth Pavilion. A match made in heaven. The sage and his wife are really a match made in heaven. In addition, the sage's trip to the Devil Blood realm should be very smooth, right? Yes, it's going rather smoothly. In order to completely resolve the danger that the Devil Blood domain poses to us, we will launch a counterattack. Does Senior have any advice for this junior? Yi Shang nodded and asked. We won't plunder anything. In fact, as long as the realm war goes smoothly, the Chaos Realm will be blessed with the Heavenly Way's fate. You can make the arrangements as you see fit. Remember to be careful. Safety is important. The origin of the Xuanhuan Great World nodded to Night Sorrow. Then, Night Sorrow and Datura left the Xuanhuan Great World. After leaving the Xuanhuan Great World and arriving at Nine Regions City, Datura muttered, "So stingy. I'm your wife, but he didn't give me any treasures or anything." Luo, the origin of the world is the life of the Heavenly Way. It doesn't have many emotions and does things according to its own rules. How could it give you treasures just because you're my wife? Night Sorrow said with a smile. Datura smiled and nodded. She was just joking. Night Sorrow's return made the whole family very happy. During the family reunion banquet, Yi Xiaoluo and Yi Xiaolei went to Night Sorrow's side and sat with one on each side. The whole family was very happy and harmonious. At this time, in the Water Realm, Ho had returned to report that he had arrived at the Magic Dragon Palace. However, he did not see the Magic Dragon General. He had only asked the Chief Steward of the Magic Dragon Palace for the Dragon Language Memory Crystal. Ho, our Water Realm will not participate in this realm war, the Dragon Language said to Ho. In the Water Realm, the Dragon Language was actually the overseer. Some things were managed by Huhu. Chapter 1506. Do you really want to know? Dragon Language looked at Hu. Not really. I just don't understand, Huhu said. Then let me tell you. Inaccurate information kills people. Night Sorrow is not the virtuous saint, but the virtuous great saint. When I attacked him with the dragon flame of destruction, his protective golden light shook, and a part of the dragon flame of destruction's power disappeared. Because the virtuous great saint is a monarch. Even king's level of energy can't hurt him. Cultivators of the same level are no match for him. Even if your majesty is a heavenly lord of destruction, his attack power will be weakened, Dragon Language said. Virtuous great saint? But Tianlan and the others are talking about the virtuous great saint. These fools, their information is inaccurate, Huhu said with a frown. Inaccurate information was indeed a trap. You saw his combat power that day. Your Majesty used all his strength, but your Majesty doesn't know if he used all his strength. He showed mercy, so why can't we go through? Dragon Language said. But the chief, is it appropriate for us to do this? Huhu didn't understand Dragon Language's way of doing things. This was equivalent to not being on the same side as the Magic Dragon General. You don't have to ask about this. Your Majesty is the master of Blackwater Realm. He's only responsible for the stability of Blackwater Realm. Your Majesty doesn't care about anything else. Just follow your Majesty's instructions. Dragon Language waved his hand. Then I'll make the arrangements. Huhu nodded. You've been with your Majesty for a long time. No matter how this world changes, your Majesty will take you and protect you, even if one day you have to leave this place and go to another world, Dragon Language said. In the Demon Blood world, the person she trusted the most was Huhu. He was more of a friend than a subordinate. Huhu nodded and left the Blackwater Palace to handle some matters. As the actual ruler and manager of a world, Huhu was a smart person. He noticed that the relationship between the Dragon Language and the Magic Dragon General was a little strange, but since the Dragon Language didn't want to talk about it, he didn't ask. All he needed to do was to arrange things for the Dragon Language. When they arrived at the Blackwater City Lord residence, He gathered all the heavenly monarchs and leaders of the forces and announced the decision of the dragon language. Everyone was surprised and looked at He. "We are the heaven monarchs of the Blackwater Great World. We are in charge of the Blackwater Great World's affairs. We'll do whatever the princess tells us to do. Everyone, please remember that we are the princess subordinates. Since they aren't attacking Blackwater World, we shouldn't seek trouble for ourselves." "That's how it is," Hu said. The other heavenly monarchs nodded. Since the dragon language said so, they would do as they were told. Release some spies. We need to know what is going on outside. Also, we need to record the people from other worlds. We will only allow them to seek refuge once. Don't treat us Blackwater Great World as fools. We can't let the princess bear the name of disbelief, Hu said. At that moment, in the magic dragon palace of the demon blood world, an old man in a red battle robe appeared and sat on the throne. There was a red crack between the old man's eyebrows. His face was full of anger. He was the magic dragon general, the leader of the demon blood realm. "What's the matter by crushing this king's messaging crystal? Don't you know that this king is in seclusion?" The magic dragon general was displeased. His true body was in seclusion to cultivate his realm while his clone was cultivating his ultimate skill. The one who came out now was his clone. The princess sent someone to deliver a memory crystal ball. Also, the realm lord hasn't read the battle report about the realm war, a woman with green hair said. She was the Magic Dragon Palace's manager, Shi Yi. After reading the message crystal ball in the dragon language, the Magic Dragon General smashed it to pieces. The anger on his face was even more intense. Shi was so scared that she didn't dare to say anything. "Evil creature, you really think you're all grown up?" the Magic Dragon General scolded. When the dragon language left the demon blood world to explore, the Magic Dragon General only felt that it was strange at first. Later, he realized that something was wrong. By the time he realized that something was wrong, the dragon language's wings had already grown up. There were some things that the Magic Dragon General knew best. He originally thought that the dragon language would never know, but after the dragon language established itself and never returned to the demon blood world, the Magic Dragon General came to understand some things. The dragon language might have already noticed, but even so, he couldn't do anything because some things couldn't be brought up on the table. Now that he saw the dragon language crystal ball, he was even more furious. However, he still couldn't do anything. He couldn't touch his daughter on the surface. Besides, there was the problem of strength. He was also afraid of the dragon language's strength. The Magic Dragon General might have an advantage over other cultivators due to his racial talent, but he was at a disadvantage in front of the dragon language. They were both dragons, and the dragon language had the right bloodline for dragons, so it had a suppressive effect on the side branches. Then, the Magic Dragon General listened to Xie's report about the previous realm war. 2 pieces of trash. The other side didn't have any half-step Imperial Realm cultivators. One of their clones was killed, and the other was killed. The Magic Dragon General roared angrily. The Demon Blood Legion, Sky Fiend Legion, and Realm Lord Lai Bing's Blood Cloud Legion are all stationed in Demon Sealing City to defend, Shi said. "What's the point of defending? We'll fight our way over first. This king will personally lead a team over there." The Magic Dragon General glared at Shi. "Realm Lord, you saw the princess's message in the crystal ball. It was the princess's decision after she was defeated. The other side might have already sent people into the demon blood realm," Shi said. Then Shi reported in detail about the realm war and what happened in the Blackwater world. The realm lord that Shi mentioned was the realm lord. It was a world of difference from the realm lords of the Eastern Shen realm and the Taiching realm. "Let's go. We'll set up camp in Forbidden City. No matter how many of them come, this king will kill them all." The Magic Dragon General's murderous aura rippled in all directions. After Night Sorrow had dinner with his family, he chatted casually with his parents and old Mr. Gu. "Son, I don't understand your world, but you have to be careful. Our family is very stable now, and everything is going well. It's not good outside. If there are difficulties, we will come back. Yuqing said. Mother, don't worry. Night Sorrow smiled and nodded. After staying at home for a few days, Night Sorrow and Datura set off. Wu Lingfei's original body was cultivating in the subbody of the Haotian godly pagoda, and her avatar also left with Night Sorrow. When Night Sorrow arrived at the alliance camp of the Sea King's palace, he realized that most of the troops had disappeared. The ones overseeing this place were actually Yuan Dao Heavenly Lord, whom he had not seen for a while. Other than him, there were also Misty Rain and Heavenly Lord Precious Fragrance. Update soonest. Lord Heavenly Lord is here. Night Sorrow cupped his hands at Yuan Dao Heavenly Lord. Night Sorrow, I haven't seen you for a while, but your name has already shaken the world. After the victory of the Border Region War, Yuan Dao Heavenly Lord's situation has improved a lot. This seat's avatar is here. Yuan Dao Heavenly Lord smiled. Night Sorrow introduced Wu Lingfei to Yuan Dao Heavenly Lord and his two companions. Yuan Dao Heavenly Lord and his two companions were very polite and respectful. Regardless of cultivation, Wu Lingfei was someone that Night Sorrow valued, and that was enough. Say the seventh watch has arrived. Chapter 1507. Qing Emperor, City Lord Tang, and the others have all gone to your stronghold. This place will be guarded by me, Yufei, and Liu Xiang, the two heavenly lords. Yuan Dao Heavenly Lord said. Then I'll have to trouble you here. I'll go there too. Night Sorrow said. He knew that this place was very safe because there weren't many people on the other side of the void tunnel. It was mainly for defense. Okay, I'll inform you immediately if anything happens. Even if they attack, this sealing array can hold them off for a while. Yuan Dao Heavenly Lord nodded. Night Sorrow took Datura and Wu Lingfei to the stronghold he had set up in the Demon Blood World through the teleportation array. The stronghold was located in the Demon Blood World's Thousand Blades Mountain. It wasn't far from Demon Blood City. Night Sorrow saw Misty Rain beside Qing Emperor. Night Sorrow knew that it might be a doppelganger, but he couldn't tell without checking. Of course, he couldn't check casually as it was impolite. The original body and the doppelganger were in two different battlefields. This was the fastest way to transmit information. If something happened at the Void Tunnel in the Sea King's palace, they would know immediately. The Yuanchu army was also there. When they saw Night Sorrow, Yufeng ran to Night Sorrow to report. After greeting everyone, Night Sorrow went to the Nine Heavens Army's stronghold and set up a tent. When Night Sorrow wanted to set up a tent for Wu Lingfei, she refused. She wanted to find Linglong and Nan Liue. Night Sorrow thought about it and felt that it was okay. Wu Lingfei was very familiar with the members of the God-slaying team. After bringing Wu Lingfei to the God-slaying team's stronghold, Night Sorrow called Long Jin, Liang Yu, Yun Huang, and Qin Zhen. Aunt Fei wants to go out for a walk. She'll stay with you for the time being. You have to take care of what happens next, Night Sorrow said. 13th brother, don't worry. If you want us to live, we won't let anything happen to Aunt Fei. Tianyu knew what kind of relationship Night Sorrow and Wu Lingfei had. And all of you, don't be stupid. This is a realm war, so be careful. Night Sorrow looked at the group before him and said, V most Q knew, previous carrot. Actually, regardless of whether it's a realm war, or a war between forces, what we need to do is to eliminate our opponents. Those who stand in our way will be cut down. It's that simple, Long Jin said. You guys have won. I can't be bothered to talk about you guys anymore. Call me if you need anything. Feeling somewhat helpless, Night Sorrow turned and left. He knew that this was the God-slaying squad, and that they had the fighting spirit of tigers and wolves. After returning to his tent, Night Sorrow and Datura discussed the current situation. Luo, we can confirm that there might be a problem between the dragon language and the magic dragon general. Can a diviner divine it? Night Sorrow suddenly had an idea. We can try that. Datura felt that this method was feasible. Just as the two of them were talking, Chen Qiangwei and Chen Yu arrived. You guys chat. I'll go talk to the others. Datura stood up and left the tent. She was going to find the other heavenly monarchs to ask for a diviner. Greetings, Captain. Qian Qiangwei and Qian Yu cup their hands at Night Sorrow. The two of you are so boring. I let you join the God-slaying squad because I want you to gain more experience and achieve more, not because I want to lose friends. Qian Yu, aren't we brothers? Qiangwei, you called yourself second sister back then. After hearing Qian Qiangwei and Qian Yu's words, Night Sorrow was very unhappy. You're a little reserved. Night Sorrow is like this. My eldest sister came out of the Nine Heavens Pagoda. After knowing our situation, she also wanted to come, Qian Yu said. Eldest sister entered the Nine Heavens Pagoda because of a fortuitous encounter. In the end, her achievements now are inferior to the two of us. Qian Qiangwei patted her brother's shoulder and said, after Qian Qiangwei and Qian Yu entered the God-slaying squad, their cultivation rose extremely rapidly. They crossed the original bottleneck and their cultivation rose in a straight line. They were both two-star king. Come on. You know the rules. After bringing eldest sister here, greet Long Jin and the rest. Night Sorrow said. All right. When the war is over, second sister will cook a table of food and wine for you. Qian Qiangwei said. After exiting the tent, Qian Yu and Qian Qiangwei walked towards the teleportation array. Father and mother didn't give birth to a brother for me, but the heavens sent one. Perhaps this is the greatest blessing in my life. Qian Yu said somewhat emotionally. Not long after Qian Yu and Qian Qiangwei left, Datura brought Qing Emperor, Tang Jianfeng, and the rest into Night Sorrow's tent. Master, City Lord Tang, everyone sit. Night Sorrow invited everyone to sit. Then, he took out a cup of soul tea. War is war, but good tea still needs to be drunk. We know what you're thinking. It's hard to say if this can be divined, but we can try. Qing Emperor said. Lord Heavenly Lord, if you want to divine, you need a medium. In other words, you need something related to the other party. A man brought by Tang Jianfeng said. That's not easy. That's an opponent, and a strong one at that. It's not easy to come into contact with her. Hearing the requirements, Night Sorrow was a little conflicted. There is. That day when you were fighting, she dropped a scale and it splashed to my side. Datura took out a shining black scale. That's enough. Everyone can wait for the results. The fortune teller bowed to everyone in the tent and then left the tent. The army's integration is almost complete. The joint attack array formation is also very mature, Qing Emperor said. Everyone has to cultivate the joint attack array formation. War is about strength. Another thing is information. With accurate information, we can make the right judgment and decision, Night Sorrow said. Upon hearing Night Sorrow's words, Tang Jianfeng smiled awkwardly. We've been in the midst of setting up defenses and integrating. This matter hasn't been settled yet. We'll immediately release the spies of each army. The main ones are the Demon Blood World and the Blood Cloud Great World. Don't send anyone from the Blackwater Great World. Night Sorrow reminded them. Everything that followed proceeded in an orderly manner. Night Sorrow's main body entered the Haotian Divine Pagoda to cultivate because there was still the space-time will to deduce. In addition, the fourth drop of soul cultivation fluid in his divine sea had not been completely refined. On this day, Dragon Language, who was listening to Huhu's report, stood up. Something doesn't feel right. It seems like someone has done something to your majesty. By the way, you said that there's no movement at all? There's no movement at all. The chief has appeared and gone to Demon Sealing City. However, he hasn't launched an attack, Huhu said. There's no movement. That means we haven't found anything yet. Night Sorrow must have begun his deployment. A storm will come soon, Dragon Language said as he looked at the sky outside the Blackwater Palace. Princess, are you sure? Huhu asked. Unfortunately, the Demon Blood domain hasn't been alerted. When the other party launches an attack, everything will be passive. However, Your Majesty said that he won't participate in the domain war, so he won't participate. Dragon Language paced back and forth in the Blackwater Palace. He just felt that something was wrong. At this time, at the top of Thousand Blades Mountain, the diviner of Xianhuang City was performing a divination. He said, "The first update. I'll try my best to update 2 more times before 10 o'clock. Chapter 1508. As the clairvoyant used his divination technique, scenes appeared one after another, which were then recorded in the crystal ball. After recording the results of the divination, the clairvoyant took the crystal ball and found Tang Jianfeng. Tang Jianfeng took the crystal ball to Night Sorrow's tent. After activating the crystal ball, Night Sorrow, Datura, and the others watched it carefully. The scenes in the crystal ball were illusory, followed by the scene of an ancient tree towering into the sky. There was a huge egg with patterns on it in a cave in the forest. Then, a human figure appeared and took the egg away. Then the egg hatched and a little girl appeared. Then, it was the little girl's growth. The scene passed very quickly, and the last scene was the battle between Night Sorrow and Draconic Whisper. Night Sorrow destroyed a scale on Draconic Whisper's body. Night Sorrow, the dragon language is not the magic dragon general's daughter. It was stolen. Datura looked at Night Sorrow, his eyes full of shock. So, there is a gap between the dragon language and the magic dragon general. The magic dragon general stole their child, separating them from their flesh and blood. The dragon language should have discovered something, Night Sorrow said. If that's the case, we can basically ignore the dragon language's influence on the realm war, Qing Emperor said. Night Sorrow, the information you received from your trip to the Devil Blood realm is very accurate and effective. If this continues, we will be facing the strength of 2 great worlds. Last time, in the battle of our black-yellow great world, their legions suffered heavy losses, and the 2 legions' commanders were also seriously injured. So, the only resistance we have now is their leader, the Magic Dragon General, Qing Emperor said. We don't know how strong the Magic Dragon General is, but according to what we know now, he won't be too strong. But there is one thing we can't ignore. The Magic Dragon General can steal the egg of the dragon's offspring. This means that his knowledge and experience must be much greater than ours. He can come into contact with things we can't, Night Sorrow said after thinking for a while. Yes, sometimes experience and methods can change the outcome. We must be careful. Qing Emperor looked at Night Sorrow and nodded. His disciple's cautiousness made him feel more at ease. He is an evil dragon. Last time, Master, you were poisoned by an evil dragon, poison centipede. We know what kind of methods he has. If we are not careful, we will be at a disadvantage. Night Sorrow said. The others nodded. Caution was the parent of safety. One careless mistake could lead to death. No one wanted such a thing to happen. After chatting for a while, everyone dispersed. Night Sorrow, you will have to deal with the Magic Dragon General in the end. Nothing must go wrong. We don't know how powerful the flames and poison centipede of an evil dragon at the imperial level are, Datura said. Yes, we don't know. Because of our background and our level, our horizons are limited. Night Sorrow nodded. In the following days, Night Sorrow's original body cultivated while his doppelganger watched the legions reorganize. He also went to watch Qing Emperor and the others set up the defensive formation. This place would become the base of the realm war. It could not be hidden from others and could be easily attacked. So, defense was the most important thing. After returning from the god-slaying team's camp, Night Sorrow fell into deep thought. Night Sorrow, what are you thinking about? Datura asked. That dragon language is of the destruction attribute, but it is not complete. When she fought against me, she was suppressed. If she has the complete destruction attribute, then she can help the demon blood world's origin overcome the danger of destruction. Night Sorrow gave his analysis. There are many branches of the supreme attribute. Fire, wind, and so on. It is very difficult to have a perfect supreme attribute. It depends on the level of your innate talent. If the level is low, you will have to slowly comprehend it. Datura said. Actually, she was also thinking about this problem. The death attribute also contained the destruction attribute. Knowing that the evil dragon's poison was tyrannical, Night Sorrow worked hard every day to cultivate the virtuous indestructible avatar. The virtuous indestructible avatar's defense was extremely strong. It could be said that it was immune to all poisons. Night Sorrow wanted to improve. After being divined by the divination master, dragon language calmed down. That mysterious influence was no longer present. I forgot to ask that bastard Night Sorrow for a method. Right now, they are hiding very deeply. They are in a state of war. We can't find anything. There is no way to find him, dragon language said. Princess, do you want to find a divination master to do a divination? Chapter 2, Section 1, Part 08Y. Alright, we'll do as you say. Divine where he is. Your Majesty also wants to see just what he is playing at. Dragon language nodded. Huhu's idea was very much to her liking. Hu went to do some work. There were 2 divination masters in Water City's City Lord's residence. Huhu randomly grabbed one and went to the VIP building. He found the traces that Night Sorrow had left behind and began the divination. Night Sorrow did not deliberately hide anything, so it was easily divined. The location and situation of the Allied Army's main camp were recorded in a memory crystal ball by the divination master. Holding the memory crystal ball, Huhu went to Water Palace and handed the crystal ball to Dragon Language. After taking a look, Draconic let out a sigh of relief. As expected, they're preparing for battle. Or rather, they're already prepared for battle. So fast. Hu was also surprised. They have already investigated the Devil Blood Domain situation. Naturally, they are prepared to attack. Therefore, the Devil Blood Domain is already at a disadvantage. Their allied army's main camp should be at Thousand Edge Mountain. Alright, just pretend that you don't know about this. Your Majesty should go. If he knows about this, he should be provoked. Dragon language said. Princess, please be careful. Huhu nodded. Arrange for the Heavenly Lords to guard the teleportation array. They can come in, but don't let them come in again. Dragon language said. After instructing Huhu, Dragon language's body flashed and left Water Palace. She went to the teleportation array and teleported to Devil Blood City. Then she flew towards Thousand Edge Mountain. Because of the memory crystal ball as a marker, Dragon language did not have to spend much effort to find the location of the Chaos Realm's allied army. Standing at the top of Thousand Edge Mountain and looking down at the Chaos Realm's allied army, Dragon language shook her head. She could naturally see that there was an extremely powerful defensive array outside the allied army. It was not that easy to break through. After watching for a while, Dragon language thought for a moment and then took a deep breath. Night Sorrow, she shouted in Dragon language. Her voice was like an energy wave that rippled in all directions. The first to receive it was the Chaos Realm's allied army's main camp. Night Sorrow, who was meditating, opened his eyes. Datura, who was meditating beside him, was looking at him. It's Dragon language. I didn't expect her to find this place. I don't know what she wants. I'll go take a look. Night Sorrow said. Alright, go take a look. But now is not the time for conflict. Datura reminded Night Sorrow. When Night Sorrow arrived at Thousand Edge Mountain, Dragon language was studying the memory crystal ball. Chapter 1509. Whether or not your Majesty is going to participate in the realm war. Don't you think you're meddling too much? Dragon language said as he tossed the crystal ball in his hand. Fine. What can I do about it? Night Sorrow realized that Dragon language was an unruly woman. What does your Majesty want? How much do you think this crystal ball is worth? If your Majesty finds someone to give it to Xie Bing, Lai Bing, and the others, it shouldn't be cheap. However, we've drunk wine and tea together before, so your Majesty wants to give it to you first, Dragon language said as he looked at the crystal ball in his hand. Aren't you threatening me? Night Sorrow said with a smile. Look at the R of Q1 inch. How can you say that? Your Majesty thinks that it's useful to you, so you should spend some money to buy it. Dragon language's face was filled with an expression of wanting to help Night Sorrow. Actually, there's something that I've always kept in my heart. Now that I think about it, it's not a bad choice. In your words, we've drunk wine and tea together before, so I'll give it to you first, Night Sorrow took out the memory crystal ball of dragon language's origin and activated it. The image in the crystal ball continued to flow. Draconic kept watching until the image ended. You despicable person. After watching it, dragon language was not as hysterical as Night Sorrow imagined. Instead, he was very calm. Do you want to buy it? Night Sorrow asked with a smile. No. Your Majesty isn't afraid. Your Majesty dares to stop Waterworld from participating in the Realm War. Do you think Your Majesty will be afraid of this? Your Majesty has entered King's realm and awakened his bloodline and knows some things. He didn't fall out with me because he raised me. I didn't fall out with him, but that doesn't mean that I'm afraid of falling out with him, dragon language said. I'm sorry. I was too impulsive. I shouldn't have rubbed salt on your wound, Night Sorrow said apologetically. It's nothing. You didn't take it out, didn't use it to make us fall out, didn't use it to start a war. Dragon language, appreciate it, dragon language said. It's good that you know that. A gentleman knows what to do and what not to do. Night Sorrow, would never do such a despicable thing. Night Sorrow waved his hand and threw the crystal ball to dragon language. Do you want grand air? Dragon language pointed at the crystal ball in his hand and asked. There's no point. This place is impregnable. We're not afraid of anyone who wants to attack us. However, I'm thankful that you didn't expose us in the past. Night Sorrow took out a jar of wine and tossed it to dragon language. That's true. Don't misunderstand. Your Majesty didn't mean to threaten you. He was just curious about what you were doing. He wanted to make some good tea with the crystal ball and play with you. Are you going to give him the tea? Dragon language looked at Night Sorrow and asked. You're practically a bandit. Night Sorrow took out a bag of tea and tossed it to dragon language. That's enough. Your Majesty said that you're not allowed to go to the water world before the realm war ends. You're not a petty person. If you want to go, go. However, be careful. If your Majesty is in a bad mood one day, he'll kill you. Dragon language made a throat-slitting gesture and then left in a flash. After dragon language left, Qing Emperor, Tang Jianfeng, and Sky Lord Shin who went to Night Sorrow's side. Qing Emperor looked in the direction that dragon language left and thought for a moment. He then turned to Night Sorrow and said, I heard your conversation. Under normal circumstances, she shouldn't have disrupted our plans. Probably not. She's not a petty person. Night Sorrow nodded and said. Then, they returned to the command tent. Datura had also arrived. Night Sorrow, news is constantly coming back. We're gathering information. When we have enough information, we'll formulate a war plan. I'll leave this matter to you. Tang Jianfeng said. City Lord Tang, let's discuss this matter. Night Sorrow said with a smile. That won't do. In terms of army leadership, tactics, and strategic arrangements, we're far inferior to you. This matter must be done by you. You can't refuse. Sky Lord Shinhu said. Night Sorrow nodded helplessly. Since everyone said so, he couldn't refuse. Aluo, go to the 9 grand floors and bring Xuanji here. Let her handle all the information. She'll know what I need and what I don't. Night Sorrow said to Datura. Okay, I'll go get her. Datura nodded. I've heard about your 9 Heavens Army's female strategist. Tang Jianfeng said. After Jun Xuanji came, Night Sorrow specially set up a tent for him and put him in charge of all the information and intelligence. Qing Emperor and the others continued to strengthen the stronghold's defenses. After the war began, this place would be exposed and might be attacked by the enemy. Night Sorrow went to the Blood Cloud Great World once and set up a teleportation array. This meant that they could attack the Blood Cloud Great World at any time. Half a month after Jun Xuanji came, he brought a stack of information to Night Sorrow's tent. Xuanji, you've worked hard this time. When it comes to war, I feel that working with you is the most dependable, Night Sorrow said as he brewed a pot of tea. Actually, I like this feeling too. I can feel the value of my existence. I've organized the information, and some of it is useless. I've also had my spies investigate the key information twice. The enemy's army is currently hoarding in Demon Sealing City, Jun Xuanji said. Demon Ceiling City is where the spatial wormhole is, right? Night Sorrow confirmed after thinking for a moment. That's right. The dominator of the demonic blood great world, who is also the leader, Mo Longjiang, is also in Demon Ceiling City. Whether it's his original body or his doppelganger, we can't be sure, Jun Xuanji said. The Magic Dragon General is in Demon Ceiling City. That means that the Demon Blood World's Demon Blood City only has one of the Magic Dragon General's main body or a clone. Night Sorrow's eyes lit up. That's right. Isn't that what you want? Jun Xuanji smiled. You understand me. The most important thing in war is momentum. If we can destroy the enemy's base, why not? Night Sorrow nodded. There's a chance, but I have to remind you of something important. The biggest variable in this war is whether or not the water world is as you expect. If they change their minds, then our estimation of their strength will be wrong, and it'll be easy for problems to arise, Jun Xuanji said. She was analyzing the problem from an objective point of view. There shouldn't be a mistake. The biggest variable here is how strong the Magic Dragon General is and whether or not we can quickly take him down, Night Sorrow said. Jun Xuanji did not say anything else. Apart from that, there were no other problems. Following this, Night Sorrow gathered all the higher-ups of the Allied army in the command tent. Next, Night Sorrow began to plan the battle. I'll take care of the teleportation formation. When we attack, I'll immediately destroy Demon Blood City's teleportation formation so that they won't be able to come back in time. Chapter 1512. Everyone is here. Please take a seat. Night Sorrow gestured for everyone to take a seat. We heard what you said. We didn't do that, Tang Jianfeng said. It's just some thoughts and ideas. Children have to rely on themselves to grow. As a father, I just need to give them a good starting point and a good cultivation environment, Night Sorrow said. You already know what happened. This is everyone's idea. With the emergence of the Realm War, the development of the Chaos Realm has changed. A snake can't do without a head, so we need a real leader. I know you hate trouble, but this is the general trend. It's your responsibility, Tang Jianfeng said. I'll do what I have to do. Night Sorrow nodded. After the ceremony, we'll prepare the domain chief's manor. Everyone will act according to the rules. The Chaos Realm will stabilize and develop better, Lord of Heaven God who said. Where should we put the domain chief's manor? Tang Jianfeng asked. Everyone else was also thinking about it. Night Sorrow's world is good. If you ask where is the safest place in the Chaos Realm, it's the 9-domain world. Night Sorrow is the realm lord of the 9-domain world. It's unbreakable. The other 9-domain world is in the core area of the 3 major world groups. It's more convenient, Qing Emperor said. That's more suitable. But I haven't been to the 9-domain world yet, Tang Jianfeng said. 6 Nif Night Sorrow smiled and explained the general situation of the 9-domain world. A new world, a supreme source. This is the potential of a major world. It's amazing, Lord of Heaven God who said with some emotion. It's less than 100,000 years old, so it has a long lifespan. Even during the Great Calamity, I can protect the source and the source can continue to give birth to new worlds. In addition, if the 3 major worlds of the Chaos Realm reach the Great Calamity, I'll do my best to protect the source and give them a chance to be reborn, Night Sorrow said. That's great. Lord of Heaven God who laughed. It's all good news. Lord of Heaven Yuan Dao nodded. After chatting for a while, everyone went to prepare for battle. The development of the primal chaos domain was a matter of the future. The most important thing right now was to resolve the realm war. Night Sorrow took out Evil Soldier's skeleton and gave it to Datura. Arrow, go and throw this into the dark abyss. This way, Evil Soldier's doppelganger can ignore it. All right, that's another problem solved. Datura smiled and nodded. Then he left using the teleportation array. With the development of the teleportation array, it would only take a moment to do this. When Datura came back to drink tea with Night Sorrow, Xie Bing, who was meditating at the entrance of the wormhole, stood up. His face was filled with pain. He understood what was going on. This was what Lai Bing had suffered back then. Anger and helplessness. These were Xie Bing's feelings. He was angry because he was tortured like this. He was helpless because he could not solve it. He did not even dare to go to the primal chaos domain. If he went there now, he would be courting death. He was not afraid of others, but he was afraid of Night Sorrow. If Night Sorrow wanted to kill him, it would be as easy as cutting vegetables. After thinking for a while, Xie Bing looked in the direction of the main tent. The magic dragon general was meditating there. The pain continued to come. Xie Bing made a decision. When the magic dragon general was not here, he would enter the wormhole and negotiate with the primal chaos domain, even if it meant surrendering. He knew that he could not bear the torture that had accumulated over the years. Xie Bing does not have much fighting power. When he sees us, he will have to submit. Lai Bing only has his original body. He is not much of a deterrent. Night Sorrow said. Datura nodded. There were 4 experts in the Devil Blood domain. Magic Dragon General, Dragon Princess, Dragon Language, Sky Blade Lai Bing, and Devil Blade Xie Bing. Devil Blade Xie Bing's original body was destroyed. Only his doppelganger was still recovering. Now, the body of his original body was thrown into the dark abyss by Datura. It was gnawed by the devil spirit and had no fighting power. It was negligible. Sky Blade Lai Bing's doppelganger was destroyed. Although he had recovered, he still had a strong sense of fear for Night Sorrow. If Night Sorrow could destroy him once, he could naturally do it again. Dragon Princess and Dragon Language, who were ranked higher than Xie Bing and Lai Bing in terms of fighting power, had decided to withdraw from the realm war after being defeated by Night Sorrow once. In other words, in this realm war, the one to be dealt with was the Magic Dragon General. Soon, it was time to decide the battle. Night Sorrow stood at the entrance of the tent and watched the people quickly gather and mobilize. A moment later, all the Lords of Heaven gathered at Night Sorrow's tent. Region Master, my doppelganger is ready. He can teleport to the Demon Sealing City at any time to destroy the teleportation formation, Wuling Mountain Master, who came with Tang Jianfeng, said. After the battle, Master will be able to feel the situation and take action when it's time. Let's go now. Our main members will go to the Thousand Blade City first. Night Sorrow led everyone to the teleportation formation. At this time, there were 4 subsidiary teleportation formations next to the main teleportation formation. This was to prepare for the rapid teleportation of people. In addition, last night, Night Sorrow had received a piece of good news from Lord of Heaven. He had set up a teleportation formation on a large lapis lazuli. Lapis lazuli was extremely sturdy. Even if it was moved, the structure of the teleportation formation on it would not change. Therefore, the chaotic region had 4 teleportation formations that could be activated instantly. Yi Shan led the Heaven Monarchs and flew to the Thousand Blade City. Before the Thousand Blades City's defenders could react, the teleportation array had been seized. Master, you can move now. After giving the order, Night Sorrow boarded the teleportation formation and began to teleport towards the Demon Blood City. After leaving the Demon Blood City, Night Sorrow's original body and doppelganger appeared at the same time. They began to attack the guards of the teleportation formation. Then, the people who rushed over began to kill the guards around the teleportation formation. Not to mention that the guards of the teleportation formation were just sovereigns, even Lords of Heaven were killed by Night Sorrow. With Night Sorrow's original body and doppelganger attacking with all their might, the guards of the teleportation formation were all killed in an instant. Qing Emperor and Sima Tiancheng began to set up a sealing formation. It was a sealing formation that prevented the teleportation formation from operating. At this time, the Wuling Mountain Master came to Night Sorrow's side. Region Master, the teleportation formation of the Demon Sealing City has been destroyed. Will the magic dragon appear? Night Sorrow asked the Wuling Mountain Master. Yes, but before he arrived, I activated the trap and kill formation disc and the teleportation formation disc and left. The Wuling Mountain Master reported the situation. Very good. Master, your doppelganger is guarding the United Forces camp, so you don't have to come. set up the teleportation formation and begin the mass teleportation. Senior brother, let's go. Night Sorrow shouted to Sandalwood. Then, he flew towards the Magic Dragon Palace, which was the lair of the Magic Dragon General. Seeing Night Sorrow and Sandalwood fly away, Datura was a little anxious. He could only watch as the warriors of the Nine Heavens army continuously teleported over. Hurry up! Datura shouted. Chapter 15:14. And L equals J and L equals, and, unsealed ice seal. White ice energy blocked the evil dragon's flames. The white figure was none other than Wu Lingfei in her white dress. Datura wasn't able to completely block the evil dragon's flames. The remaining parts were blocked by Wu Lingfei's ice seal. Ice could counter fire, but it needed to be at the same level of energy. At the very least, the difference couldn't be too great. Wu Lingfei was a junior king, and her ice energy was also at the level of a junior king. Compared to the magic dragon's flames, the difference was too great. She could only block it for a moment before the ice energy collapsed. However, Wu Lingfei had bought everyone some time. Seeing that the people behind her had dodged, Wu Lingfei leaped into the air. The flames flew under her feet and landed on the ground, burning a large hole in the ground. Cool craftsman net, only one original version, the others are all pirated. Datura flashed to Wu Lingfei's side. Aunt Fei, are you alright? I'm fine. Wu Lingfei smiled at Datura. The anxious expression on Datura's face let her know that Datura really cared about her. At this time, the Magic Dragon General couldn't attack anyone else because Night Sorrow was angry. He couldn't withstand the violent attacks from his anger. Faster! Faster! The Magic Dragon General was very anxious. His clone was flying at top speed. Being bombarded by Night Sorrow's soul attack and material attack, the Magic Dragon General couldn't withstand it and kept retreating. Although Luo Yunyang used his Warblade to defend himself, the energy from Night Sorrow's two poles kept attacking his body, causing his protective dragon flames to weaken. Great Emperor Reincarnation / Night Sorrow's main body used his ultimate skill. After the main body used his ultimate skill, Night Sorrow's clone also used his ultimate skill, Great Death Destruction / Night Sorrow discovered that the Magic Dragon General's defense was no longer as watertight as it had been in the beginning, and time did not allow them to continue fighting so steadily. The Magic Dragon was a Great Emperor Realm cultivator and was extremely fast. It wouldn't take long for the clone to teleport to the nearest city and then rush over. The halo of negative effects from the lost skill landed on the Magic Dragon General. Immediately, the Magic Dragon General's soul defense decreased, and the flames on its body became much weaker. With a low roar, Night Sorrow's Samsara used Void Extreme Kill, while his doppelganger used Return Origin Kill, which was close to the concept of annihilation. The two rods seemed to pass through the void and appeared in front of the Magic Dragon General. One was the head, and the other was the dantian in the abdomen. Night Sorrow was attacking the Dragon General's two vital points at the same time. The Magic Dragon General's sword blocked the attack on its abdomen, while its left hand turned into a dragon claw, blocking the attack on its forehead. The sound of metal clashing rang out. Night Sorrow's attack was blocked by the Magic Dragon General's sword, but the sword was also deflected away. At this time, Night Sorrow's Samsara used Void Extreme Kill to pierce the center of the Magic Dragon General's left claw. A purple halo rippled, and the Magic Dragon General's left claw was directly pierced through. The Magic Dragon General endured the pain and pulled its left claw to the left. The light did not enter its forehead, but pierced its left eye. The Magic Dragon General roared, and a light burst out from its head, shaking off the purple and black halos produced by Night Sorrow's lost skill. The sword in its right hand swung, forcing Night Sorrow to retreat. However, Night Sorrow, who was forced to retreat, once again used his lost skill and launched a second attack. With the help of the soul-extinguishing crescent blade, the two lost skills were released again. Everyone watching the battle tensed up. Everyone knew that Night Sorrow was going to kill the Magic Dragon General, and it had reached a critical moment. At this time, the magic dragon general's condition had deteriorated. Its left claw was injured, and its left eye was pierced blind, which greatly affected it. After the halo produced by the lost skill covered the magic dragon general once again, Night Sorrow, Samsara, and Space Splitter slid down the sky, falling towards the magic dragon general. At this time, in the air dozens of miles away, the magic dragon general's clone appeared. When Qing Emperor and the others went to intercept it, the magic dragon general's clone roared, "Melt!" After the roar, the magic dragon general's clone directly disappeared. When it reappeared, it emerged from the magic dragon general's body and blocked in front of the main body. It appeared with the soul-extinguishing crescent blade on its head. However, before it could react, Night Sorrow Samsara poured into its forehead, and then the energy burst annihilated its head. Space Splitter also pierced its dantian in the abdomen. At this time, the magic dragon general's main body quickly retreated and then shouted, "Explode!" Following the explosion, the magic dragon general's clone exploded, and the violent shockwave sent Night Sorrow flying. The magic dragon general's main body didn't continue to fight with Night Sorrow and continued to retreat. Night Sorrow naturally didn't want the magic dragon general to run away. He avoided the energy wave of the magic dragon general's clone's explosion and began to chase after it. However, the magic dragon general had already run some distance away. Night Sorrow chased after it, and the others also followed. Everyone was worried about Night Sorrow and wanted to know the result. At this time, Night Sorrow's main body and clone had merged into one, and they were closely chasing after the magic dragon general. "Heaven falls and earth rends open." The magic dragon general roared in an ancient manner in Demon Blood City. Following the magic dragon general's roar, a series of explosions were heard, and a dark spatial passage appeared. The passage was full of evil energy. The magic dragon general used the evil dragon's flames to protect his body, and rushed in with the power of heaven and earth. Then, he turned around and fiercely slashed a few times. Collapse. After Night Sorrow arrived, the space began to collapse. Night Sorrow couldn't enter, and the magic dragon general didn't have a chance to chase after it. Night Sorrow helplessly shook his head, and then put Samsara back into the sheath on his back. That's the passage to the celestial realm, but it's already been destroyed. He didn't give anyone a chance at all. Dragon Language appeared, wearing a blue dress. Actually, when the magic dragon general's clone appeared, Dragon Language also arrived, but she was watching in the dark. "Then I'm still going to kill him, start a realm war, make everyone suffer, and then just leave?" Night Sorrow was still a little angry. "The passage is destroyed. It's not that easy to go to the celestial realm." Dragon Language shook her head. She also wanted to go to the celestial realm, but with the passage destroyed, there was no hope. "Without this passage, I can't go to the celestial realm?" He escaped this time, but he won't be able to escape again. Night Sorrow was a little unhappy that he didn't kill the magic dragon general. "You should be content. He's an Emperor Realm cultivator, and you killed his clone. What else do you want?" Dragon Language was a little speechless. "Why should I be content? He deserves to die." Long Jean, who followed Datura over with the God-slaying squad, said. He was now as angry as Night Sorrow. If it weren't for Datura and Wu Lingfei's quick reaction, the God-slaying squad would have suffered heavy losses. "Your Majesty, why are you so angry?" Dragon Language looked Long Jean up and down. "Who are you? Why do you care if I'm angry or not?" "Captain, I'm going to set the Demon Blood Palace on fire." The angry Long Jean planned to go back and set the palace on fire. "Forget it, there's no point. Dragon Language, as a reward for not attacking this time, I'll consider bringing you along when I go to the celestial realm. Let's go back." Night Sorrow breathed out, adjusted his emotions, and flew back to the Demon Blood Palace with his people. Search for Cool Craftsman website on WeChat, follow the name of the new work, and read the full text. L equals, and, said. Chapter 1520. Genius 1 second. Remember love goes/little? I'll bring you an exciting novel to read. To read a book, please go to website $. Master. Yi Jun stood up and bowed to Lord Heavenly Lord. Good, very good. That night, follow me to the Origin Dao Celestial. Your father is powerful, but I'm not necessarily better at teaching others, Lord Heavenly Lord said with a smile. Xiaoluo, what about you? Night Sorrow looked at Yi Xiaoluo and asked. Father, Mother said that as long as I'm willing to work hard and cultivate with her, I'll definitely be able to dominate the world in the future. Yi Xiaoluo's voice was a little soft because he knew it was a little impolite. You bastard. Night Sorrow was speechless. Why am I a bastard? Can I teach an expert? Datura glanced at Night Sorrow. You guys win. Night Sorrow smiled helplessly. I like you too, child. Your mother specializes in the death attribute and will guide you well. If you have any questions about the time attribute, you can look for me at the Origin Dao Celestial anytime. Even if you're not my disciple, I'm willing to teach you, Lord Heavenly Lord said. Yi Shang and Mandela stood up and cupped their hands when they heard the words of Yuan Dao Lord of Heaven. This was broad-mindedness and boldness. Cultivators more or less had some sectarian bias. Their consummate skills were kept secret and would not be passed on. However, Yuan Dao Lord of Heaven had displayed an extraordinary broad-mindedness. Domain Lord, what are you guys doing? Lord Heavenly Lord pulled Night Sorrow and Datura to sit down. Yi Xiaoluo thanks Lord. Yi Xiaoluo bowed to Lord Heavenly Lord. 9SJ version BM version RB, Domain Lord. The Origin Dao Celestial will open up soon because the threat of the spatial tunnel no longer exists. Lord Heavenly Lord made his decision. This is a good thing. The Origin Dao Celestial has always been too mysterious. Lord Heavenly Lord also wants to recruit disciples. Night Sorrow suggested. I will. Yuan Dao Heavenly Lord nodded. After drinking and chatting, everyone decided to build a domain chief's manor in the 9-domain world. First of all, the 9-domain world was a young world with a long lifespan and room for development in the future. Night Sorrow was also from the 9-domain world. Furthermore, the 9-domain world was connected to the main cities of the 3 major worlds, which was also more convenient. Regarding this Night Sorrow, he didn't have any objections. However, he stated his own request. That was, in the near future, the various major powers wouldn't be able to enter the 9-domain world. High-level cultivators would only be able to visit their families and friends for fun. They wouldn't be able to search for opportunities. We will do it. Heaven Monarch Shin, who was the first to express his stance. The others were the same. Everyone understood that the 9 domains world was a new world, and cultivators needed time. The Qing Emperor, you're in luck this time. Your Qing Emperor's dynasty has already built a city in the 9 regions world. You have the advantage, said the Red Emperor. Red Moon, you're thinking too much. Back then, because of the celestial sex threat, I listened to Night Sorrow's suggestion and built a city in the 9 domains world. Although the city is being built, I've banned anyone from walking outside, said the Qing Emperor. Night Sorrow, you used the skeleton of a Heaven Monarch-level ice dragon to set up the icebound formation. Aren't you afraid that the dragons will come after you? Asked the dragon language, who had been drinking and drinking without speaking much. I'm not afraid. Uncle Lai agreed to it. Uncle Lai is the ice dragon, said Night Sorrow with a smile. The ice dragon gave it to you. Alright. The dragon language didn't know what to say because this shouldn't have happened. After the chat, Night Sorrow, Tai Shu Yen, and the others arranged for the guests to stay in the VIP building before returning to the city in the sky with their families. Night Sorrow called Yi Jun to his side and sat down. When it comes to apprenticeship, the first thing is attitude. It has nothing to do with our status in the Yi clan, said Night Sorrow as he looked at his son. Father, I understand. Yi Jun nodded. Attitude determines success. You must remember this. I believe in you. Night Sorrow patted his son's shoulder. Father, you are the pride of us siblings. We will work hard to become your pride, said Yi Jun. Although you haven't apprenticed yet, your grandmasters and granduncles won't be stingy with their guidance. If you don't understand something, you can ask them. Auntie Aluo is also fine, said Night Sorrow as he looked at his 3 children. Father, don't worry. Yi Qingyan and the others nodded. Yi Xiaoluo, I'm worried about you the most. You must be calm. You must be calm in everything, said Night Sorrow as he looked at his youngest son. I've disappointed you today. Yi Xiaoluo's voice was a bit low. No, I know you've changed a lot. Take it slow. Night Sorrow smiled at his son. Son, why are you telling me so much? You're the leader of the region. Can't you teach your son yourself? Said Yu Qing. Today, I want to apologize to you, Mother, and everyone else. I may have to leave home for a while, said Night Sorrow as he put his arm around his youngest son's shoulder. Father, where are you going? Yi Xiaoluo's eyes were filled with disappointment. Sky Monarch isn't the highest level of a cultivator. The path of cultivation is endless. Above the Sky Monarch is the Emperor Realm. Father, can you let me cultivate to the Emperor Realm? Asked Night Sorrow as he looked at Yi Xiaoluo. Okay. I miss you, Father. I'll go to the Heaven Sealing Hall. Yi Xiaoluo nodded. Yes, the same goes for the rest of you. In the past few years, my clone in the Heaven Sealing Hall has been studying alchemy, weapon refinement, and array formation. I won't study it anymore. If you have any problems or want to solve them, come to the Heaven Sealing Hall to find me, said Night Sorrow to his children. Yu Qing sighed helplessly. She felt sorry for her son, but there were some things that she couldn't stop. Qing, you have to think about it. It's because of my hard work that I have achieved what I have today. We should be happy for my son's achievements. Didn't you hear the Sky Monarch say that this is an unprecedented achievement in the 3,000 worlds of the chaotic world? Yuio said. After everything was settled, the 9-region city began to build the domain chief's manor. All the major forces contributed resources. The people in charge were Qing Emperor, Tang Jianfeng, and Sky Monarch Shenhu. The 3 of them were the representatives of the 3 major world groups. They would also be the elders of the domain chief's manor in the future. Night Sorrow spent every day with his wife and children. Yi Yujun officially became Sky Monarch Yuandao's disciple and held a ceremony. After staying at home for a few days, Night Sorrow decided to solve the problem of the celestial sect's Ling Tian. Otherwise, it would always be a hidden danger. He was worried about leaving. After asking someone to divine again and confirming that the celestial sect was still in the Kuan lower world, Night Sorrow set off. The Kuan lower world was surrounded by the star domain storm. However, Night Sorrow wanted to try. He wasn't afraid of the spatial turbulence within a domain. He could enter if he had the opportunity. Chapter 1521. The headquarters of the celestial sect in the celestial realm didn't ask Ling Tian and the others to go back because they hadn't completed the task. Ling Tian could only accept the order. He wanted to go to the celestial realm, but he also knew that without the support and approval of the headquarters, he wouldn't be able to survive in the celestial realm without a foundation. He could only wait for the right time to find a high-level world to plunder the origin energy. Only then could he complete the task. After Night Sorrow set out, he teleported many times between different worlds. When he came to the space world barrier closest to the Kuan mortal world, he couldn't teleport anymore. Through the space world barrier, Night Sorrow found that the energy in the space turbulence was extremely violent, full of destructive and void energy. Among all the elemental energies in the world, the most violent was the destructive energy, and the most difficult to defend against was the void energy that could annihilate everything. If it's all destructive energy, there's no way to get through it. But the area with the void energy in the middle is an opportunity, Night Sorrow murmured. The void energy and Night Sorrow's genuine chi were of the same origin. If Night Sorrow used the void energy to protect himself, it would be very effective. After all, they were of the same origin. The void energy in the turbulence would be less aggressive and invasive. After taking a sip of wine, Night Sorrow tore the space world barrier and started to fly. Night Sorrow had to go through the turbulence in the space world to set up the transmission formation. He had a much bigger advantage than others, and he didn't need to take others with him. He had tried it. No matter which space world origin it was, it didn't reject him. The Qing Emperor needed 2 or 3 years to set up the transmission formation between the Xuanhuan Great World and the Samsara Great World. It took a lot of time to find people. People who didn't belong to this world couldn't break the space world barrier and enter. QI on UW. When the Qing Emperor entered a world, he offered a reward for finding people in the next space world. After finding them, he promised a high price and signed a promise. Then he used a space treasure to carry them through the turbulence in the space turbulence to the next space world barrier. Then he tore the space world barrier and asked the person who carried them to bring the transmission crystal in. Only then did he set up the transmission formation step by step. Night Sorrow was now the deluxe merit Grand Sage, as well as the master of the primal chaos realm. He had the acknowledgement of the 3 world essences, and the other high-level and low-level worlds would not treat him as an enemy. Little Kong, in such a strong spatial turbulence, how long can you hold on if you give me time to rest? Night Sorrow asked as he flew. As long as we have enough Saint Spirit stones, it won't be a problem, Shao Kong said. Right now, we lack everything but Holy Spirit stones, huh? When it came to Holy Spirit stones, Night Sorrow was very confident. He had several million in wealth, and Lai Bing had given him 3 million. In addition to his previous savings, he didn't have to worry about Holy Spirit stones. While flying, Night Sorrow felt the pressure. The spatial turbulence here was too strong. Back then, Haotian City, which was the current 9-region city, was wrapped in a spatial storm. Compared to the current spatial storm, it was like a drop in the ocean. The spatial turbulence here carried with it a strong suppression of the world's grand momentum. Ordinary spatial turbulence had its own laws, and the violent places had the additional will of the world. However, it definitely wouldn't have such a strong grand momentum. He couldn't comprehend it. Due to the restrictions of the world's shackles, Night Sorrow was unable to comprehend the grand momentum of the heavenly Tao. In other words, he couldn't even become a half-step sovereign. However, Night Sorrow knew that once he broke through the shackles and comprehended the grand momentum of the world, cultivating here would definitely be much easier. When he was tired, Night Sorrow entered the Haotian Divine Pagoda to recover. With the time acceleration here, 2 hours of Night Sorrow's rest was just a short while outside. After resting, Night Sorrow continued flying. In the past, it wasn't difficult to set up a transportation formation in the Kuan lower realm. That was because once the spatial turbulence passed, it would be a period of stability. Due to the restrictions of the world essences, King was unable to set up a transportation formation. It was always the sage kings who set it up in the spatial world at the most suitable time and the closest distance. Others couldn't do it like Night Sorrow. While traveling in the spatial turbulence, Night Sorrow was also tempering and condensing his vital energy. Back then, he had cultivated and consolidated his cultivation like this. It's a pretty good place. I'll really have to come here in the future. Night Sorrow muttered. There were very few places that could help him condense his cultivation, but this place could. As he wasn't in a hurry, Night Sorrow walked and stopped every now and then. On this day, while traveling, Night Sorrow was stunned. Ahead of him was a zone of destructive energy. There were no streaks of void energy. In other words, he had to pass through this zone of destructive energy. There was no other way. Night Sorrow increased his protective energy to the maximum and started traveling. With the invasion of destructive energy, Night Sorrow's protective energy began to deplete rapidly. When his cultivation was depleted by more than half, Night Sorrow wanted to rest. Then, the strand of colored energy in his body that didn't listen to his commands began to move quickly. The colored energy moved at full speed and merged with Night Sorrow's protective energy shield. At this time, Night Sorrow's soul power easily merged with the colored energy. Then he could control it. He was too happy. For many years, Night Sorrow had been trying to study and refine this energy. However, he couldn't do it. When his soul power merged, it was destroyed. When the void energy went up, there was no way to solve it. Today, when it was suppressed by destructive energy, this energy moved and merged with Night Sorrow's soul power. Night Sorrow was very excited. He knew that this was destructive energy. It was the purest form of destructive energy. It had to be known that it was produced in the most tyrannical destructive lightning tribulation. Night Sorrow's body flashed and entered the Hautian god pagoda. He sat down cross-legged and began to study this destructive energy. At this time, this destructive energy was moving quickly in Night Sorrow's body. Although it was tyrannical, under the protection and control of Night Sorrow's soul power, it didn't cause any damage to Night Sorrow's body. Feeling something, Night Sorrow pointed with a finger of his right hand. The colored energy pulsed at the tip of his finger. Night Sorrow's body originally had 3 types of destructive energy. Under Night Sorrow's careful study, they had merged and strengthened. However, he couldn't control them. Now that he could control it, it was a trump card. Night Sorrow knew that once he thought of a way to strengthen this destructive energy and then research a destructive technique, he would have one more trump card. Night Sorrow had seen cultivators of the destruction attribute. Sandalwood and dragon language were both of them. However, Night Sorrow was sure that the destructive energy in their bodies wasn't as pure as his. Sandalwood's destructive energy was of the fire attribute, while the dragon languages was more tyrannical. However, there were other types of energy that weren't pure enough. He had to cultivate and strengthen it. If he could cultivate a destructive skill, it would come in handy. Chapter 1524. Genius 1 second. Remember Love Go/Little? Here's a wonderful novel for you to read. After arriving at Sky City, Night Sorrow called for Datura. Assemble a team of Bloodstrike guards and wait for me at 9 Chong Building. What's wrong? Datura was surprised to see Night Sorrow's murderous expression. This had not happened in a long time. How dare you bully the disciples of Medicine Valley? You must be tired of living. My senior sister has been kidnapped, Night Sorrow said. Okay, they will be at 9 Chong Building soon. Datura was furious after hearing Night Sorrow's words. Night Sorrow brought Tang Chanxian to 9 Chong Building through the teleportation array. Fei Xiu, bring your men and follow me, Night Sorrow shouted to Fei Xiu, who was guarding 9 Chong Building. Young master, we will follow you, Hongyi said. She could tell that Night Sorrow was going to kill someone. Okay, you two follow me. Senior Sister Tang, do you know the location? Night Sorrow asked Tang Chanxian. I know. Zhan Feng is from Green Great Island. They should be going there since they kidnapped Junior Sister Jingyi, Tang Chanxian said. Give me the map, Night Sorrow shouted to Hongyi. After taking out the map, Night Sorrow looked at it and found that it was an island in the original Sky Seizing Island. It was a subordinate force of Sky Seizing Island. At this moment, Datura arrived at 9 Chong Building with a team of Bloodstrike guards. Aluo, Sky Seizing Island is now under the rule of Dark Abyss. I need the fastest way to Green Great Island. Datura pointed to Green Great Island on the map. How can I get to that area the fastest way? Datura had not been in charge of anything recently, so she was not very clear. However, she had brought along the commander of the Bloodthirsty Legion. You can go there directly. The City Lord's mansion of Green Great Island belongs to the Dark Abyss. Together with the Green Great Sect, they manage Green Great Island. Then let's go. Night Sorrow ordered. After 2 teleportations, the group arrived at Green Great Island. Night Sorrow brought his men into the City Lord's mansion. Inside the City Lord's mansion were the troops of the Dark Abyss. When they saw Datura and Night Sorrow, they all bowed in greeting. Night Sorrow and the others knew about Night Sorrow. I'm looking for someone. Do you know Zhan Feng? Night Sorrow didn't stand on ceremony and directly asked. This was because the matter was very urgent. If he was late, something irreversible might happen. Zhantai. This surname only belongs to the descendants of Zhantai Yang. We did not exterminate the Zhantai clan. The Qinghong sect is their power. The person in charge of the Dark Abyss said. Let's go. Night Sorrow shouted. The person in charge of the Dark Abyss led Night Sorrow and the others through Green Great Island's teleportation circle and arrived at the Qinghong sect. After arriving at the Qinghong sect, Night Sorrow activated his soul power and began to investigate. After a while, he found Lin Jingyi in a courtyard. Her arms were chained behind her back and she was hanging on the roof beam. A man was standing in front of her and poking her occasionally. Damn it! Night Sorrow roared. His body flashed and he flew towards the direction he was investigating. You can forgive the sins of the heavens, but you can't live with the sins you bring upon yourself. Kill them. Datura checked the direction Night Sorrow was flying in and immediately understood what was going on. He then gave the order to kill. The Qinghong sect didn't even have 2 sovereigns. How could they resist? Shishue had brought along sovereigns. The Qing Emperor's guardian team that Fei Xiu had brought was also very strong. After a while, the Qinghong sect was in a mess. After Night Sorrow flew to the courtyard, he waved his hand and sent the man flying. Then, with a shake of his right hand, he broke the chains and put Lin Jingyi down. It's okay now. Eat this. Night Sorrow supported Lin Jingyi and fed her a drop of life soul fluid. Who are you? How dare you interfere with the business of the Qinghong sect? The injured man shouted at Night Sorrow. After Zhan Taiyang died, I didn't kill all the forces he belonged to. However, this time you asked for it. No one can bully the people around me just because of how good their background is or how strong the sect behind them is. No one can bully the people around me. Night Sorrow said coldly. Equals, smiley face. Who are you? The man felt that things were not going well. He was Zhan Taiyang's descendant, Zhan Taiyang. After Zhan Taiyang died, the people of the Zhan Tai clan came to the Qinghong sect established by his son. However, because they were used to being arrogant in the past, their evil nature was ingrained in their bones. My name is Night Sorrow. When you die, you will know who killed you. Night Sorrow's right hand vibrated with energy. He planned to end this Zhan Taiyang. Junior brother Night, wait. I want to take care of him personally. Lin Jingyi felt better after eating the life soul fluid. Sure. Night Sorrow's right hand exploded with energy. He grabbed Zhan Taiyang and wrapped Lin Jingyi with energy and flew towards the Qinghong sect square. At this moment, the square was full of people. Sky Seizing Island used to do all kinds of evil. I endured it and didn't find fault with you. Now that I found out that your evil nature is in your bones, there is no need to keep you alive. Shishue, kill them all. Datura's body emitted killing intent. This matter was his responsibility. If Lin Jingyi was fine, it would be a pity if something happened to her. No need. Destroy their cultivation and let them die on their own. Night Sorrow stretched out his hand and pulled Datura. He didn't want to see Datura tainted with too much killing. Sure. Shishue, do as Night Sorrow says. Datura nodded. Don't worry, Domain Lord and Lord Ruler. Drag them away. Shishue shouted to the Blood Strike guards. Senior Sister Lin, I'm a little late. Night Sorrow looked at Lin Jingyi, who seemed to have recovered. Not late at all. Thank you, Master Knight. Domain Lord. Lin Jingyi changed the way she addressed him. Night Sorrow's current status was different. Senior Sister Lin, just call me Junior Brother Night or Night Sorrow. I'll leave this Shan Feng to you. I've said it before. No one can bully you just because they have a backer. Not today, not in the future, Night Sorrow said. Thank you, Junior Brother Night. Tang Chanxian and Lin Jingyi bowed to Night Sorrow again. Heavenly Monarch was a realm that cultivators yearned for. Cultivators at this realm had to be respected by other cultivators. Furthermore, Night Sorrow was the domain lord of the primal chaos realm. If you have any problems in the future, you must look for me. Don't be careless. Delaying will only ruin things, Night Sorrow said. Got it, bastard? We trusted you and wanted to train with you. Yet you conspired against us. Not only did you steal our things, but you're also shameless. Lin Jingyi took a few steps forward and kicked Zhan Feng, who was being held down by Fei Xiu. Then she stepped forward and kicked Zhan Feng between his legs. Because her cultivation hadn't recovered, her true qi wasn't violent. A few kicks wouldn't kill him. Thus, it was a cruel torture for Zhan Feng. You're tuning in to the Passion Pages YouTube channel. We're so grateful for your support, and don't forget to subscribe to join us on this incredible journey through captivating stories. Your generosity through donations truly makes a world of difference, as it's the primary source of revenue that allows me to expand and enhance this channel for you. Thank you from the bottom of my heart for being a part of this adventure.